inside. Saw you in a field of ice and snow, holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my bones that something here was bound to take me home. You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel. White, I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices and guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a hard, cold goodnight. Baby, hang on to your ticket, chips and wind, alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. Saw you in a field of ice and snow, holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my bones that something here was bound to take me home. You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel and white. I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices and guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a hard, cold goodnight. Baby, hang on to your ticket, chips and wind, alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. If not you, not here, then I don't know. As above is ever so below. Something here was bound to take me Saw you in a field of ice and snow, holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my bones that something here was bound to take me home. You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices, I'll guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a hard, cold goodnight. Baby, hang on to your ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. Saw you in a field of ice and and snow. Holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my bones that something here was bound to take me home. You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices and guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a hard cold goodnight. Baby, hang on to your ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. Saw you in a field of ice and snow, holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my bones that something here was bound to take me home. You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices and guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a hard cold goodnight. Baby, hang on to your ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. if not you, not here, then I don't know. As above is ever so below. Something here was bound to take me home.
Hello, my international friends and people. How are you all doing? I'm doing pretty solid right now. There's some festive season out in the India region, but we've got some two amazing people with us right now joining. You all are watching the UK Unite playoffs. We've got Tins with me alongside with Tins. We've got Tej. First of all, Tins first, and then Tej. How are you guys doing? And how excited are you for the playoffs that we're going to have in just a while?
Yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing for it. Scared. We've got these teams, they've been battling it out over the last 7 weeks now, and it is down to the top four tonight. So we've got Clodbridge, Oxford Oricorios, MUCL, and Brizzy Blissies that are going to be battling it out for that title tonight. So I don't know about yourself, Tej, but I'm absolutely buzzing to get started with this one.
I'm super, super excited. It is my casting debut, so I'm really excited to be here and part of something so unique. So I haven't actually seen the previous games, but I'm super excited for these top four hitters to be clashing it out for the victory today.
I mean, welcome to the casting debut desk, by the way. It's also my debut out here in the UK Unite playoffs. So it's that one first timers. We're all here. And since we're already on the topic of first timers, right? You mentioned Tens about the teams that are in the top four: the Clodbridge, Oxford Oricorios, MUCL, Blizz. I'm just not going to say that tongue twister. I'm going to say that BB. Yeah, so all four of these teams, they're super amazing out. They have been on this top for a long time, but you mentioned that they have been matching up for such a long time, right? So it's already pretty clear that these are going to be the top most teams and the best competitions out there in the region. Let's quickly have a look at the brackets as well for today, and let's continue with the discussion of what's going to happen when these Goliaths clash. It's a double elimination bracket. It's going to be Clodbridge up against PB for the first one, Oxford Oricorios, and MUCL for the second one. So, Tens, how excited are you for these ones? And who do you have as the winners and who will move to the champions?
Well, looking at the leaderboard, Scared, you've got all these teams that we've got tonight. All four teams, they're so close.
Yep.
So the top three have 11 wins, and then Brizzy Blissies have got 10 there. So unfortunate for Fenno, have just missed out with the 9 there on getting through tonight. But yeah, these top four, it's going to be a huge clash. To put your money on anyone is anyone's game at the moment because, you know what I mean? I've just said they're so close, well matched. So it's going to be a very well contested night of Unite, Tej.
Well, for me, as it's my first time seeing all the teams in actions, I can't pick like a favorite for me, but I do like the name of MUCL and Brizzy Blissies. So I'm rooting for the underdogs. Come on, do me proud, guys. Do me proud.
I mean, to be honest, they were on the struggling end now, but you really stole a line off of my book. I wanted to say I'm probably going to go for the MUCL side as well, just because their name is pretty fun. But yeah, I'm not picking Brizzy Blissies. It's just a nasty tongue twister out. But boys, you'll be up for the first game itself. That's going to be between Clodbridge and again their opponents right now. So my question is, what are your expectations from that one? It's again going to be Clodbridge up against Brizzy Blissies, right? The first seeded team to the fourth seeded team. Pretty harsh on BBs, but you know what? Either ways, you've got to win all of your matches in order to be crowned as the champion. So, what do they need to do in order to actually come out on top, Tins?
Wow, it's all about the draft, isn't it, Scared? If you can sort of outdraft, outfox your opponent in that first sort of stage of the game, that first bit of mind games that are going to be going on. Like we said, Clodbridge on 11 wins, Brizzy Blissies on 10. It's a very close, well-contested match still. Even if it says rank 1 and rank 4, it's still going to be pretty close. So I think it always comes down to that draft, who can get those mons that provide a lot of CC. You know, that's such a big factor in this game at shutting down your opponent. So just have to see how this goes, but buzzing to get started, guys.
Absolutely.
I
Tej,
agree
here's
with
one thing.
Tins.
I wanted to ask you one thing. I know I'm going to be stealing a mic here for a second, though, but I think so. You have been the one who has been on the other side of this entire picture, right? You have been on the player seat as well, if I'm not wrong. So my question is, what happens when you see that it's your matchup against the team that's actually on the first in the entire leaderboards?
You know what? I've not had that experience per se, but I'm sure it can be pretty daunting. Again, just looking at the leaderboard, though, Brizzy Blissies are only 1 win behind in total. Again, the top 3 seeds are at 11 wins. So I wouldn't be feeling too scared or too nervous if I were Brizzy Blissies. They clearly know what it takes to win, how to play that draft game, as Tins mentions, is so important. As long as they can counter their comp very well going into draft and they have a smart draft game, I'm sure that their skills are going to come out with flying colors on the battle court.
I kind of agree as well. And since we are already talking about the draft as well, right, I kind of want to move on to it, but I'm just waiting for the call from the prod itself to quickly rush it into the first match itself, as a lot of people have been waiting. But since we're already on the topic of the draft, I think so. There's one point I wanted to mention that Suihyun is going to be banned out, so neither of the teams are allowed to pick it. That does leave room open for a lot of other picks as well, right? I mean, I remember back when Rapidash came out, it was basically either an insta ban or a prio pick, but it seems like not a lot of teams have been picking up right now Rapidash these days.
No, well, Scared, to be honest. Speedsters have been a huge problem for teams, and they did take a slight nerf recently. I then think they buffed Leafeon, so maybe we're going to see a few speedsters banned out. It's really a problem at the moment. But here we go, over to myself and Tej, I believe. Tej, Umbreon, Talonflame, Blissey, and Mimikyu taken out of here already. Just the one speedster there.
Yeah, indeed. I am surprised. I'm surprised that we've been seeing a lot of Inteleon and a lot of Zero Aura being allowed into these games. I don't know about yourself, but if you caught today's UCS for the EU side, and there was a lot of Inteleon bans, a lot of Talonflame bans, all which made sense. And Zero Aura was one speedster that was allowed to slip through that ban phase and cause absolute havoc on the field. So I'm surprised that there's no ban on Zero Aura here. It's only like they got to just try and counter it the best that they can. But the draft picks here make the most sense, to be honest.
Yeah, I love the start of the draft from Clodbridge over there. They've picked up that Hooper, and we saw Zero Aura today in UCS causing all sorts of problems. Interesting start from Brizzy Blissies there. They've got 3 tanks there. Hopefully that Blastoise is going to be providing a nice bit of brawl in the front line. You can't knock an Inteleon pick either, Tej. Does so much work from the backline.
That is very true. And do you know what? Seeing that Blastoise, it makes me think of you, Tins. I think they might be going your favorite rapid spin moveset there, kind of filling in the shoes of the all-rounder. But I can't help but notice on the other team of Clodbridge that we've got Lololop on the Trevenant. I don't know if I told you, but when we were at EUIC, I managed to meet Lololop in person, and I saw them in my solo queue game. So it's actually really nice to see a familiar face in today's competitors. And I'm really excited to see what both teams are going to be showcasing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always nice when you meet someone from the scene. Actually, it's funny, on the same team, you've got Socks, who was a competitive player on one of my teams right back in the day. So has since gone on to do some real good work in UCS and things as well. Noticing that the other team has 3 big tanks there and picking up that Delphox, which is going to be really powerful into the opposing comp. But Tej, here we go. We have got Clodbridge versus Brizzy Blissies for the first match of the night.
Indeed. We're seeing Sobble and Snorlax taking the bottom lane here. Obviously, Cerulege taking the jungle for Brizzy Blissies, and Zeraora taking the jungle for Clodbridge. Now, Zeraora is going to be very crucial here. I think Zeraora is the one to keep an eye on, especially with how well it was doing in the UCS today. And it all just comes down to how well both teams play their micro and macro gameplay.
Yeah, both teams just going across, getting their jungles at this point. No invades to speak of just yet, Tej. Almost a minute into the match now. Teams just battling for this farm is what we like to see. Is this going to be locked in by the Sobble? That was a huge water gun there. I'm not sure who got locked that in. We've got 3 players on the bot side for both teams. 10 seconds to go, Tej, until the first set of midbirds hit the map here. It's interesting to see a 3-person rotation from both teams, but over to you for the midbirds, mate.
You can see that Cerulege is just waiting to dive on in. So is the Zeraora. Zeraora is just letting them go in. A huge Volt Switch into their backline. Got Sobble very, very low. They had to eject on out of there. Snorlax dropping very, very low too. I didn't see who got most of those, but I'm going to suspect that a lot of them went over to Clodbridge. And now they're contesting the Indeedee here, Tins. We're now taking a look up in the top lane to a big push from Brizzy Blissies onto the goal pad. Wartortle scoring the first 8 points in today's game. Zeraora is just going through their jungle, rotating up slowly to that top lane, providing their teammates a nice little push and some support as they make an assault onto that tier 1 goal zone.
Only 35 points scored in this match so far. We are 2 minutes in. The mid-fight is just about to happen there. It seems we have a lot of interested parties. I'm not sure who got what there. We still only have a Phantom on the map. Needs to tick over for that massive power spike that is level 5 for that Pokemon. Marv doing well on the Zeraora, already up to level 7, opting for that Volt Switch discharge moveset there. Can we see some huge tech from that player later, Tej? You know, when you're Volt Switching in with a discharge and manage to displace a couple of players, pulling them away. That'd be really cool to see. But another set of midbirds about to hit the map. Lovely heavy slam going in from Snorlax, but in return becomes the Volt Switch discharge, nearly dropping that Snorlax out of here.
Indeed, and as you were... Indeed. I think we are maybe a little connection issue on production side. Don't worry. There we go. We're back. We got to see a little bit of a drag from the Zeraora there on that blue buff, which you just mentioned, which I am, as you said, I'm very, very excited to see. Those can be some really big make or break plays as we are going to focus on the basement Reggie here. There is the Inteleon charging up that snipe shot. They just want some vision just to see how low Regirock is, and they're just going for the secure, but they don't do it late enough. They get it nice and low for Zeraora, and unfortunately it does go to Clodbridge. A huge number of points raining in onto Brizzy Blissy's tier 1 goal zone, and that was a big overcap for Clodbridge that puts them into the lead, 90 points to 52, as they 5-man rotate up into this top lane now for the Regieleki. We can see Inteleon and Snorlax just kind of going the long way around. They don't want to get caught out, especially that Inteleon, but huge amounts of pressure being plopped in by Clodbridge. And unfortunately, a Cerulege ult that got into nowhere, but a big Delphox ult just to keep the enemy team zoned away here, and a massive block from Snorlax too. But in the meantime, Zeraora was ripping that Regieleki, and no one even noticed. No one could contest that.
Yeah, putting all sorts of pressure onto the base were Clodbridge. Lovely fanciful fireworks from Sox to keep the huge defender presence back, while Zeraora player there, Marv, went to work ripping that Regieleki. We do see Clodbridge. They were finding it a bit tricky at the start, Tej, to get some dunks in, but a huge 90 on the bot side, the double KO from Sox, and then another double KO going in on the top side, causing all sorts of problems at the moment for Brizzy Blissies. They're just pulling back at the moment, Tej, grabbing their farm. This is exactly what we want to see when you're under pressure. Keep yourself level wise on the money, because when it gets to that final objective, you want to make sure that you are neck and neck with your team, at least in that respect, my friend.
Indeed. And now with both of their tier 1 goal zones, that opened up a lot more farm for Brizzy Blissies. And as you can see, they have caught up on XP and on levels as well. Zero Aura still being the highest level in the game, but on average, Brizzy Blissies are here to contest. And we've got another fight for this Regirock. A big hammer coming out from the Tinkerton. It does get pushed back and zoned by the Blastoise. That was a very good surf, and then got taken down by Cerulege there. Cerulege having to just go back and grab some heals. Hooper up in the top lane, just getting some XP, maybe getting ready to portal their entire team top with a big Rings Unbound. In the meantime, we've got a push onto Clodbridge's tier 1 goal zone. Cerulege taking this time to rip that Regirock while the rest of Clodbridge are distracted. And yeah, they do get that for free. They did have to back up there. Big Rings Unbound all the way actually to the top side to get in some dunks. We did see Delphox getting in that 16, and now it's time to back up, grab a little bit of XP for this next fight in the Regilicki.
That was a huge play, wasn't it? Using that Rings Unbound, realizing that every player was going for that basement Reggie, dunking a huge amount of points. In return, we did see the basement Reggie going over to Cerulege and Brizzy Blissies, who managed to get a nice 40 points in that bot side and a nice stack for Cerulege. But it is all Clodbridge at the moment, and the Regilecki is heading towards this tier 2. We have a nice amount of presence ready to defend. All defenders are up there. We got the Blastoise, Snorlax, and Slowbro good to go here. But Tinkerton taking the time, Tej, to pop down the bot side there and get themselves a nice little 10 dunk.
I mean, stacks with Tinkerton will be absolutely huge, especially with how much damage that Gigaton hammer can drop. So all the stacks that they can get in, the better. And it is only left on 7 points. This is why Clodbridge is actually top seed here, I think. I mean, we're seeing outstanding play from them so far, putting so much pressure onto the enemy team's farm, onto their goal zones as well. That's why there's a staggering 336 point to a 92. But Tins, as we always say, when there's a Ray, there's a way, and that is what we've got in 30 seconds. Both teams just need to scramble for that last bit of XP. Again, levels are looking pretty even across the board for both teams. One team having 13 and the other team having some 12s and 11s as we tick over, and a huge pickup on that Snorlax there too. This does put Team Clodbridge in a good advantage position. Like you can see here, they're positioned super aggressively as we get into this Ray fight.
Yes, like I said, with Sox picking up that Delphox, he's causing all sorts of problems with the fire spin. It's so good into a group of tanks. We see the Tinkerton dropping really low there. The fight is popping off. We see a Revenant Rend straight into the backline there from our Cerulege. The Rings Unbound is out, Tej. There is the huge Revenant Unite there, pushing into the backline. Down goes the Cerulege. The Hydro Typhoon is out, popping up all of Clodbridge. Everybody's dropping so low. This is huge gameplay from both sides. Down goes Zero Aura, takes a hit from Ray there. Slowbro takes them down. This is so close. Look how low all of Clodbridge were. Brizzy Blizzy's almost taken them down, but there is the fanciful fireworks from Sox, has smartly saved that for the Rip, Tej. And could this be the way that they take the first one? Rayquaza takes down Tinkerton, but they lock it in just in time before Brizzy Blissies can get back. What a huge fight that was, Tej. So close.
That was so close indeed. It felt like it was going one way and then another and then back the other way again. But it was Clodbridge that came out on top in this Ray fight. All they had to do was take down Brizzy Blissies and then take the Rayquaza, which is exactly what they did. And they don't even need to score some points. They were in a massive lead as it was. Zero Aura trying to make a nice little extra attempt on an extra goal zone. And all they need to do is defend those tier 1s and just distract. It's only 30 seconds left of the game, but we love to see no surrender. They are just going to keep on pushing, just keep on enjoying, and all experience that they can get from this fight will carry over to the next game. So there's no harm in not surrendering here right now either.
Yeah, absolutely. You do have a point scored and stuff on their leaderboards, so it is great for them just to carry on playing, try and get some more points in. But Sock says absolutely not. Fanciful Fireworks dropping on that bot tier, keeping that up for Clodbridge. That was pretty dominant from them in the first match, Tej. Brizzy Blissies had a really, really good Ray fight, but I think the catalyst for the victory there was that Snorlax getting taken out just before Ray, caught in the fire spin, caught in so much CC in the choke there. But yeah, it could have gone either way at that Ray fight.
Indeed. I felt like originally looking at the comp from Brizzy Blissies, I did think that the Blastoise was going to go Rapid Spin just to fill out that all-rounder role. So maybe the triple tank here is probably where the downfall was met, because it was just a lot of defense and not enough damage output. Whereas I think if they went for the Rapid Spin build here, they could have applied a lot more pressure, especially on that Delphox, who was kind of living rent-free in their backline.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And yeah, as we can see on the scoreboard here, as soon as we got to that 4 minutes, that was it. We saw Clodbridge just kind of take the lead by storm. It was absolutely insane. But I did have to say, from Brizzy Blissies, I did love seeing the Blastoise Snorlax combos to zone out enemies, surfing people away from their team and blocking just to keep them there and stunned up against the wall. That was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Take nothing away from Brizzy Blissies. They gave it their all there. Like we said, it could have gone either way at that Ray fight, right, Tej, because they had Clodbridge, multiple members really, really low, even allowing the Rayquaza to take one of them out. So, it was a really well contested Ray fight. And we said it comes down to that. Clodbridge just taking it in the end. We saw some great defense as well from Socks at the end there. Fanciful Fireworks onto the bot tier, just allowing that victory to be a little bit sweeter. But yeah, fantastic first match there. From Brizzy Blissies, I would like to see in the next draft maybe some kind of a support to just keep those tanks up a bit longer in the front line. Maybe something like an Umbreon with Wish could have gone really well there as well. Potentially it was banned out and can't quite remember, but just that was crying out for a supporter, Tej.
It really was. I think it was just crying out for a little bit more damage. I mean, I see where they were going with Protect the President, keeping that Antelion alive, and Antelion was able to do a lot of damage, but they just need something a little bit more just to keep aggressive play up, because in that game, they were throughout just having to just kind of defend. And it would be nice to see them do a little bit more offense into this next game and put the pressure onto Clodbridge. Make Clodbridge play their game, not the other way around, you know? So it'd be really interesting to see what sort of comp they will come up with this time around. Now that both teams have been able to feel each other's out, feel out their sort of like skill levels, what sort of mons that they like playing, and their sort of styles of play as well. So it'd be interesting to see if any team will change it up, keep it the same, or even what bans we might see. I feel like maybe even a ban on the Cerulege, who was able just to get into their backline quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't see too many speedsters, did we? That Zera Aura was really popping off through that game. Marv having an absolute blinder, doing all sorts of work. Speedster from the Brizzy Blissies could really just sort of do some great work. Getting into the backline where Socks was really popping off with a fire spin, causing a lot of disruption for those tanks. We know that a Delphox with Fire Spin into a triple defender comp is going to be a big problem. So it was just crying out from them for something to get into that backline. Obviously, they had the Inteleon that could cause all sorts of problems. But unless you land those snipe shots into that backline where that player is hiding, causing you those problems, then it's going to be very difficult if you have nothing to get there. Like you said, Rapid Spin, Blastoise, my favourite thing in the world, would have been really nice at heading into that backline and causing Socks a few more problems. But yeah, there's things for Brizzy Blissies to think about there, and can definitely come back strong because, like we said, Ray fight was close, Tej.
Indeed, and like this game is so heavily based on the Ray fight. If you win the Ray, you can pretty much win the entire game, right, Tim?
Yeah, you really can, mate. Honestly, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you can play such a really strong game of Unite for 8 minutes, and then if you lose that Ray fight, one player gets taken out at the wrong time, like with a few seconds to go before that 2-minute mark, all of a sudden you are massively, massively on the back foot. Like we saw with Brizzy Blissies, they were just caught out of position a little bit when that Snorlax got caught, I believe it was, caught in all sorts of CC in the choke, trying to get some vision. All of a sudden, a few seconds to go till Ray, and you're having a 4v5 in the pit, and you're trying to stay up. So, yeah, it is a difficult one, but Tej, Brizzy Blissies, what do you want to see from them in this next game to bring this to a 1-1?
I think Brizzy Blissies had some good bans. I think all I would like to see from Brizzy Blissies at the moment is just a little bit more aggression. I think if they're going to utilize that Protect the President comp, then try and put a lot more pressure onto Clodbridge's tier 1s and tier 2 goals, or maybe just substitute out one of the defenders for a nice like beefy all-rounder. Metagross is something that could do very well. Maybe even taking away the Tinkerton from Clodbridge, as Tinkerton did really well that game too. Something just to give them a little bit more damage, a little bit more aggression, a little bit more reason to fear them. And as you said, as too, like just some heals as well, just to kind of round that off nicely, keep their front line nice and healthy while the back line can drop huge amounts of damage too.
Yeah, absolutely. Something like a Blissey. Brizzy Blissies would have really enjoyed a Blissey that game, I feel like. If you get that Revenant Rend with the Bliss assistance onto that, that is going to be causing real problems for an opponent. Obviously, huge healing for Blissey and a single teammate as well. Yeah, probably one of my favourite Unite moves, that, because if you manage to get one of your players, for example, you have a speedster into the back line, Bliss assistance through the whole team, that does some serious work on the opponents. But yeah, it is something to think about. We would like to see something from Brizzy Blissies, whether that's a big damage speedster, a nice support to keep those defenders in the front line alive. And yeah, like Tej said, a little bit more aggression maybe. You've got heavy slam, Snorlax, block, push people off that base, let your teammates score, surf from Blastoise. There's so many ways to assault those goal zones, and need to get into that back line and cause some problems for Clodbridge. But yeah, Clodbridge were fantastic in that first game. It's going to be difficult. It's an uphill battle, but like we said, Ray fight was close, and that is what all it comes down to sometimes.
Indeed. You know, we're always rooting for the underdogs. We tend to do that as well on our Engage community games as well on Tuesday. So I'm very excited to see what Brizzy Blissies will pull out next. And you know, I as you were mentioning before, I do hope that they pick up the Blissey. I don't know if you saw, Tins, but in the UCS, Indo was able to secure Rayquaza with the Blissey. There was a lot of supporters securing Rayquaza today, so it might maybe it was a good thing for either team running a supporter. You know, they could get the secure on Rayquaza. We've been seeing a lot of that in the UCS too. So yeah, I'm super excited, and we are getting into the next game. The draft picks have been done. We're seeing similar bans across the board, just with the addition of Snorlax from Clodbridge this time. They really wanted to take that away from Brizzy Blissies, even though it was the one that got caught out just at the start of the Ray fight. They know that the Snorlax was their biggest threat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Blissey and Talonflame taken out of the match here as well. They heard us talking about it. We don't want to see any Blissey. They say Talon as well, one of the best Pokemon in the game at the moment, causes so many problems. What we do see though, Tej, is a Leafeon locked in. That is extremely dangerous when paired with Slowbro and Buzzswole. So much great CC to provide support to the huge damage that Leafeon can provide.
Indeed. Leafeon has just recently been buffed too, making it even more of a threat. I believe it was the Razor Leaf and Leaf Blade moves that were buffed, but I mean, Razor Leaf always pairs perfectly with Aerial Ace. Just dash in, dash out, burst down the enemy team. And while we say that, Brizzy Blissies have picked up 2 attackers. This will be quite interesting. Marv on the Greninja. We know Greninja is more of a speedster anyway with the surf reset combos, so it'll be interesting to see how they'll use that to hopefully take down the Leafeon before they can get to Sox, who's on the Inteleon. And we saw Inteleon dropping a lot of damage last game, so it's interesting that we're going to see them allowed to pick it up again. That being said, we're also seeing Karasu picking up the Urshifu. Now, based on the build, I feel like it's going to be some Red Bear, and I love seeing some Red Bear in Unite. So this is going to be nice and interesting. Both teams seem a lot more well-rounded, so it's going to be a good one, Tins.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like that first match might have been used just to try something out. Didn't quite work, so it reverted to something maybe a little more comfortable. Side up picked up. We love that. It does so much work with the disable and surf potentially. Karasu over there on the potential Red Bear. Secure that provides, locking down a single opponent, potentially looking at that Leafeon Tej with the huge Ebon Fist. But if that is going to be locked in, yeah, we're going to have to see some huge Slowbro gameplay from Red Rouge trying to keep Leafeon up from Karasu in these important fights. Slow Beam, of course, insane Unite move, but what would you call it, Tej, from these drafts here? Who is taking the victory for you?
Oh, I don't know. It's a really, really tough one. Don't get me wrong. It is a really, really tough one because both team comps are looking so nice and well-rounded, super juicy. I do find the comp coming in from Brizzy Blissies a bit more interesting, slightly different from your typical kind of one of each role thing as well. So I don't know. I can't say for sure who's going to win it. Normally, whatever I say is always ended up being wrong anyway. So I'm not going to make no predictions. I don't want to be wrong today. But as we say that, let's kick off into the first game. Leafeon in the jungle for Clodbridge. They are jungle sharing with the Delphox. That is very, very smart. As you know, Leafeon gets their level 4 pretty early, so they don't need that second buff, and that blue buff is going to benefit the Delphox the most as they're trying to stop the Froakie from scoring in an extra little stack, but they are dropping super, super low. They did get that stack in, but they do go down. There was nothing much that Lololop could do to defend them over there, and Leafeon causing absolute mayhem up in the top lane, and Sobble goes down. It's only Hooper left to defend that tier 1 pad in the face of 3.
What a huge start from Brizzy Blissies this time. This game has already got more scores in 1 minute than we saw in the last 3, Tej. 14 for Clodbridge, 7 for Brizzy Blissies. It's a huge start. Don't think we saw a KO last time for the first couple of minutes, but here we go. Urshifu down. There's that Evan Fist locks in 3 farm there, and I think potentially they got the big one as well. Brizzy Blissies are currently on the back foot now. Some points raining in from Clodbridge, making an assault onto this tier 1. The Wicked Blow was being charged up, but smartly deciding to back out there in the face of Slow Poke and breaks in.
Indeed. It was very, very interesting to see that the Urshifu went down to the bottom lane. I think it kind of made sense in one way, just taking advantage of the Leafeon not being there in order to get a very successful gank. And as we can see as well, Frogadier is now taking the second rotation of jungle, trying to get them online to that level 7 as teams rotate to these middle birds. Lololop already in there, popping out the curse, and it does go all over to the side of Clodbridge. A huge Ebon Fist to secure a lot of that farm, and a massive amount of secure as well from the water gun from Giselle. 3 versus 3 down in the bot lane. Urshifu drops super low. They do go down all to the Leafeon, and Greninja dropped super low, but they were able to pick up a revenge KO onto the Leafeon there. Good zoning from the Slowbro, just popping that surf, pushing away Clodbridge back to their side of the map, trying to help Psyduck get away as well there too. And Boswell wreaking absolute havoc up in the top lane. There's not much that they can do with level 7 Boswell. Inteleon just got the evolution too, so now they're able to pop in a good amount of snipes, and we can see a trick Phantom Force coming out from the Hooper, so good 33% healing whoever they managed to link up to.
Here we go then. The first set of objectives have hit the map already in both sides. 19 points apiece on the scoreboard. We see a big presence from Brizzy Blissies, who, by the way, have had a really good start here compared to last time, causing all sorts of problems. They've been watching. There goes the Razor Leaf. A huge Emerald 2-step comes out, landing all sorts of damage. The Fire Blast as well. The Fire Spin causing chaos, Tej. And that is an ace from Brizzy Blissies. I I'd like to see them go to work quickly on this Registeel, because here comes Sox on the Inteleon, smartly hiding in that bush. What a snipe shot onto the Delphox player there, reducing the amount of damage that can be dropped, allowing his team to come back in. And here we go, all 5 players up, down goes Slowbro. They are going to make an assault onto this tier 1 Tej. Buzzwole in the top side was going for that Regieleki, for some reason decided to stop, but all points raining in now from Clodbridge. They need these points going in because it was a great period of play from Brizzy Blissies just before that. The zoning is coming out, Greninja is going to work. Look at that Horn Leech pushing Red Rouge back where they came from. There we go. Broken the base, and Clodbridge take the lead, 103-66. Tej. Buzzwole back to work on that Regieleki on the top side.
Indeed, and we did see the Reggie down in the bottom get taken over on the side for Clodbridge. They were able to get that Regieleki, but they can't capitalize on it too much. It does destroy their tier 1 goal zone on the side of Clodbridge. However, just gives them one less base to fall on, one little bit less of a comfort spot, as they did try to go for a little bit of an invade there, but all the ults come out. Oh my god, that big shuriken just missing the Buzzwole, but they did connect with the Surf. They did go down. Urshifu fighting out the Leafeon for top jungler in this game. Leafeon dropped very low, had to retreat. A big 30, a big 40 go in at the top lane, a big 8, and then a nice juicy 12 overcap coming in from Sox on the Inteleon. That is 2 goal zones down for Brizzy Blissies, but this time they did manage to take down one of Clod's Bridges tier 1 goal zones as well, which must be like a nice huge bit of morale for them. Now it's just time to work on the bottom tier 1 goal zone for them.
Yeah, Brizzy Blissies have been so much better in this game, Tej. They're more well-rounded team, popping out the damage that the Leafeon is providing with those Emerald 2-step Razor Leafs, causing all sorts of problems. Psyduck as well with the CC it provides, the Slowbro doing some great zoning for the team. We just want to see them get together down here and get a push onto this base. There's 20 seconds to go until the bot Reggie hits the map. We see some great positioning from Clodbridge. Got Trevenant and Urshifu there ready to pounce. There is a case to be made here for Brizzy Blissies leaving this one alone because they don't have that tier 1 to fall back on. There comes a fanciful fireworks. The Ebon Fist is up into the Waterburst Shuriken into the backline. There's the Emerald 2-step Tej. It's all popping off. Sox again lands a huge snipe shot. Those autos going to work. Just Slowbro left for the side of Brizzy Blissies. That was going so well for Brizzy Blissies until Sox popped the huge snipe shot, as well as the Aujourd Spy Vision to lock in those huge crits. Now going to work on the Regirock, but they're going to make it back in time. Brizzy Blissies, can the Fire Blast lock it in? Doesn't quite connect, unfortunately, and it is an Ebon Fist in the end, locking that one in. There's another refight on though, Tej, but I think Brizzy Blissies just need to back it up here. Without that tier 1, it's a dangerous place to be with only a minute to go to Rayquaza, and you have a lot of farm up. Get those levels up and get ready for the Ray fight, because this is still pretty close, my friend.
Indeed, and it was a great play that we saw from the side of Clodbridge. Inteleon doing such a great job just putting that pressure onto Brizzy Blissies. We saw a lot of them getting KO'd there, and then the way that they worked so well in securing the Regirock as well between the Ebon Fist and the Snipe Shot was absolutely insane. Buzzwole drops super low here. They do get Horn Leech back, and I believe it was the Hooper that does pick them up. Regieleki is walking to Brizzy Blissies tier 2 base. Now they've got some time to defend it here, Tins. If they can get it KO'd in the next 20 seconds, then they've got some time to start setting up for the Rayquaza. But Clodbridge is one step ahead. They're already starting to set up, as we can see here, from the Hooper, from the Trevenant, from the Greninja. Very, very aggressive positioning. It could work out for them, but it could also bite them in the back, with Urshifu and Inteleon still making their way to the Ray Pit, which is about to just spawn now.
Absolutely hilarious there. Buzzwole diving into the bush. Oh, that's a huge superpower. Picks up the Trevenant. The Rings Unbound are out from the Hooper. Everything is popping off. Down goes Trevenant. The Slowbee picked them up. The Azure Spy Vision is out from Sox. Everybody is dropped so low. It just seems like Brizzy Blissies disappeared there in the face of those players. Sox dropping low, picking up 2. But it looks like Clodbridge have taken this one. Greninja picking up 3. The Surf absolutely popping off with those resets sets, Tej, and Clodbridge making the assault onto the tier 2s. It's still quite a way left in this game, but can they stop Sox getting the points in? The two-step almost connects on Greninja. Sox will not score, does go down, but there is many points between the teams, and LOLOP is heading for the main base. Too much health, too much shields to stop, and there goes another hundo into the main base. Clodbridge now back with plenty of numbers to mount the defense. Marv dropping super low, but unfortunately they do not get that pick, and Clodbridge 395 to 86, Tej.
This is a well played game from both teams here, but it does go to the side of Clodbridge, who just played that Ray fight just a little bit better, getting that team wipe and then just taking out the Rayquaza. But I wouldn't feel too disheartened if I was Brizzy Blissies. Again, last game the Ray fight was a lot closer, and this game the scores were so much closer than before. Leafeon just almost getting away by an inch of their life, but unfortunately they do go down to the Trevenant there. There's not much more that Brizzy Blissies can do in this game, but hopefully they've taken something away from this game for a follow-up game or future games that they are taking a huge big Unite from Urshifu and an Ebon Fist and Water Burst Shuriken just to wrap up the show for us there, Tins.
Yeah, we love to see it, don't we? Lovely Ebon Fist into the Water Burst Shuriken. I think that's what Clodbridge just did slightly better, was just using those Unite moves in conjunction with each other to cause all sorts of problems. I'm glad that Brizzy Blissies didn't give it up, got some more points on the board at the end there, but 395 to 126. Very nice from Clodbridge in that set there, taking the 2-0 victory in our first match of the night. Let's look at some numbers. Delphox, Chaos Coops on there, 65k damage, doing really well. And for the side of Clodbridge, some pretty decent numbers. Marv was a standout, picking up some huge surfs in that end game. Waterburst Shurikens into the back line, really powerful in that match. But it was pretty close, wasn't it, Tej? All the way up until sort of the last few minutes there. And Rayquaza makes the difference, doesn't it?
Always does. Another good play that we've seen from today's game was Sox on the Inteleon doing absolutely huge amounts of damage from both the backline and the midline too. They would all over the place with that Fell Stinger, those snipe shots, and those Azure Spy Vision ultimates came in really good. And were played very well too. So it's going to be exciting to see who they're going to be playing up against in the grand finals too, or the finals, should I say. So it's going to be super exciting who they're going to play and what will their strategy be when the time comes to compete for the grand finals.
Yeah, congratulations to Clodbridge. That was a fantastic set from yourselves, and Brizzy Blissies gave it everything as well. Really exciting for us to watch for the first set of tonight. But Tej, coming up, we've got Oxford Oricorios versus your favourite name here, MUCL. And you know, we're probably going to be on different sides of the spectrum here, because Oxford Oricorios, you know that's where I was born, right? So bigging up Oxford here. I know you guys said MUCL, but I've got a root for Oxford. So buzzing for the next one, and will we see some similar strategies coming out here, Tej?
Maybe. I feel like we're expecting to see some similar bans. The bans is pretty common, especially with the UCS this season so far, especially right now with the defense penetration coming in on the speedsters. So speedsters are a big threat, and a lot of defenders are getting banned out because we know how much CC defenders can pop in as well. So I'm expecting to see similar sort of bans, maybe some tailored ones based on what they know about the other team's players and their sort of preferential play styles as well. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of mind games both teams can pull in the ban phase.
Absolutely, that's very exciting. Well, big thank you to Tej on his debut. He's absolutely cooked there. We've got Oxford Oricorios versus MUCL coming up for you very shortly after a quick break. So grab yourselves a drink and a snack, and we will be back very soon.
But I can get you inside, baby. I said you're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Saw you in a field of ice and snow, holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my bones that something here was bound to take me home. You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voice as a guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a hard, cold goodnight. Baby, hang on to your ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. If not you, not here, then I don't know. As above is ever so below. Something here was bound to take me Saw you in a field of ice and snow, holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my bones that something here was bound to take me home. You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voice as a guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a hard, cold goodnight. Baby, hang on to your ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. that you're not here, then I don't know. As above is ever so below. Something here was bound to take me home. Saw you in a field of ice and snow, holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my bones that something here was bound to take me home. You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices, I'll guide you. You give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a hard, cold goodnight. Baby, hang on to your ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light.
Hello everybody and welcome back. We saw a huge first set there between Clodbridge and Brizzy Blissies. Tej was so tired after doing some insane casting for us. He's had to go off for a short rest, but we're now joined by Scared for this next one between Oxford Oricorios and MUCL. What did you think of that first set, Scared?
Oh, I'll be very honest. The domination showed by Clodbridge was absolutely phenomenal. In the first one, I thought maybe Brizzy Blissy went in a bit too tanky for that draft, or maybe, as you mentioned, the rapid spin Blastoise would have done a pretty better job in terms of at least forcing Delphox to be in an awkward position. That did not happen. Smooth sailing for them. And in the next one, I believe they just carried forward with the momentum as well and closed out the series in a solid fashion. But I'm more focused on the one that's going to be in front of us right now. Oxford Oricorios up against MUCL, where, I'll have to say, me and Tej, we both mentioned that we are just going with MUCL because of their name.
Yeah, we've got two sides of it here because obviously I'm pretty close to living in Oxford, so we're going to have Scared rooting for MUCL. I'm going to be rooting for Oxford Oricorios, but yeah, we've got Clodbridge waiting in the wings there to face off against the winners of this match. Brizzy Blissy's also down there waiting for an opponent for third place. Scared.
Absolutely. It's going to be pretty big task right now for Brizzy Blissy as well to, move back up from the previous loss as well. It's not a double elim bracket. You don't really have any second chances now, so they'll have to make their peace with the third place. They did end up at the fourth spot in the leaderboard itself, so I think so. Right now, being here, winning maybe the next one is going to be a big upgrade for them. But in order to find that, we will have to witness the current one, Oxford Oricorios versus MUCL, where MUCL did win the toss, so they will have that advantage at least being on the purple side of the draft. And I think so. When once you are in that position, you can really dictate the way how you want to draft yourself, right? By maybe just banning an unconventional Pokemon in the first few banning phase just to grab your hands on the broken ones.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like with Cloudbridge in the first game, wasn't it, of tonight? We saw a huge Delphox pickup into those 3 tanks, and you know that how good Delphox is into those Pokemon when you've got such a hefty sort of frontline presence on the opposing team, the CC that provides. So we're hopefully going to see similar from Oxford Oricorios and MUCL here, picking up those smart picks, Scared, to really counter your opponent's draft.
Yeah, that's the most important part. Countering the opponent, whatever they're bringing on the table, you are surely prepared for that. But as we quickly move into the drafting phase, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be the Hoopa for the first ban, though. And since we're already on that topic, Hoopa had a massive impact in the previous game, right, Tins? Because you have that big advantage in terms of those rotations, where by putting off those portals quickly, you can take those neutral objectives.
Yeah, both Hooper's move sets are really, really handy with Trick as well. You're able to just take a teammate across the map with a nice little shield and the speed boost that provides. Blissey taken out of it here as well. Joining that on the ban table, Scared, Metagross and Machamp.
Yeah, I mean, that still leaves room open for a lot of picks out there, which a lot of people might pick, right? You mentioned about how people are actually picking the Talonflames, Aurora as well, going in all across the board. Kind of brings me back all the way towards the 22 meta when a lot of people would just go in with these speedster picks who were very difficult to catch. But in order to catch them, we've already got the Snorlax picked up but right away by Grand Blue. What's going to be the answer to that is the big question.
It looks like Jiabin is going to pick up that Umbreon. Was banned out in both matches last game, but allowed through this time. Really, what were Brizzy Blissey's crying out for in that first match was something like Umbreon with the wish healing that provides onto those tanks. So Oxford Oricorios locking that in. I'm really liking the start of both of these drafts, Scared, because Mewtwo White, Eldegoss, Snorlax is a really nice sort of trio to start off a draft also.
I was just about to mention that you banned out the Blissey, you picked up the Eldegoss, does not leave room open a lot for any other kind of support apart from Jigglypuff or maybe a Comfy, which haven't really seen a lot of success in the drafting phase of the current meta itself. But we did see a side up pickup in the previous one as well, and this time we're seeing it again from the side of Oxford Oricorios along with the Talonflame. They are going with the double speedster kind of set, right? Or rather, not the double speedster, but more or less like the ones who can get in, quickly get that elimination, and move out of the fight with the Blaziken as well as the Talonflame.
Yeah, of course, Talonflame was banned out pretty much all the time. It's so good at locking in those objectives as well with either moveset, Fly or Brave Bird. It's interesting to see Bluey has locked in the Zeraora on the opposing side. So what we were saying that Blissey's were crying out for in the first set of tonight, Scared. Both teams here locking in a speedster. Oxford Oricorios have Psyduck and potentially Wish on that Umbreon. So really interesting to see how they go about things with plenty of dive as well in the face of Blaziken and Azumarill.
Yeah, that's the main point I wanted to mention about this Azumarill pick is something that we don't normally see. A bit of an unconventional one on one of the side, but again on the other end we've got the Mewtwo Y as well, along with the Zarina. You talked about locking someone down. I think so Zarina does a solid job specifically with that Unite move. So if Talon wants to hop in, if Azumarill wants to maybe just roam around the fortress, if even Blaziken wants to catch in someone, they'll have to be worried about this arena just knocking them up, finishing them off in an instant. So it basically will evolve down to how quickly you can outplay the other side. I think so we're going to see a very pacey game in this game at least.
Yeah, you've got 2 Unite moves on both teams, haven't you? With this Queen Ascendant from Serena and the Belly Bash from Azumarill, it can really cause problems for the back line. Here we go then into this first match, UCL versus Oxford Oricorios. I'm really excited to see how this goes, Scared, because these two teams seem to have drafted very, very well. So UCL, your purple side, Oxford Oricorios on the orange side.
Absolutely. Couple of players going all the way down the bottom with the Mewtwo Y and the Snorlax, who will eventually face that Psyduck on the other end. And again, it's going to be a Talonflame hopping in directly into that jungle, the mid part of the map. So I was kind of thinking who they're going to send it there, and it was eventually clear once they logged in the Talonflame that it's going to be that. A couple of early points already being scored from one side. I would have to say, I'm thinking that this might actually be a pretty fast-scoring game, but it depends on the snowball effect of the Mewtwo Y right now, which we might possibly see hop in. A lovely eject button out as well down bottom, just to try and survive out there. But that does give a bit of a health advantage to the side of UCL.
Yeah, you said, Scared, it's going to be a quick scoring game, and it's 27-14 as Eldegoss sends Azumarill straight back to the Pokemon Center for a bit of healing. We have 10 seconds to go until the first set of Midbirds hit the map. Both teams showing a lot of interest here. Can Azumarill get back up here in time? It looks like they may just make it to make this a 3v3. Oh, that is absolutely huge from both teams there. Down goes Steely on the top side, and it looks like Oxford Oricorios making an assault onto that first tier base up there, getting loads of important early points in, early stacks, 60-14 on the scoreboard. Very important now, Scared, for them to back out, not overstay their welcome, but by doing so, they picked up a huge KO and dunked a few more points in here.
Yeah, they're just constantly pinching them all the way down road, and again, Azumarill with all of the skill sets can keep his distance, can also constantly go in for the pokes as well. It just feels like he does not have a lot of damage right now, but you do not want him to snowball, specifically in the early game, since we're already talking about that. We've already seen Talonflame Evolution coming into the play as well, so you know those flies are going to hurt as well. That Unite move, once it's going to be up, it's going to be very difficult to catch him all the way down. And we are seeing the Midbirds taken without any contest by Oxford Oricorios, and it seems like UCL are kind of running out of their time.
Yeah, that was a lovely lock-in from Talonflame, who's up again, landing a big fly flame charge onto the Snorlax. The Zeraora has something to say about that. Big discharge, and it has to eject out, does Talonflame, surviving there on 1 HP and a dream. Can they get some points in here? This Azumarill is basically just zoning them out on their own. Great to see Serena on the map, deciding to go for that triple axel. Very, very useful at defending a goal zone, Scare, because you can cover pretty much all of it with that triple axel. Another set of Midbirds up, in goes the drop kick and the triple axel, starting to cause some problems. Talonflame has something to say though, and down goes Serena as 30 points rain in from the Snorlax on the bot side, giving UCL the lead here, Scare.
Yeah, on the back of that, now they will eventually have the advantage on those neutral objectives, which you just mentioned, the bottom Reggie or even the top Reggie right now. They're constantly going in for those points, but I have to say this Blaziken has been struggling a lot because of the Snorlax being on his face constantly, while Mewtwo has been having a very fun time.
Yeah, that objective now going over to UCL as well. Talonflame is up in the sky to cause another huge amount of damage. Snorlax really lows the belly bash, lands. Look at that huge block eject button into the backline. Side strike landing. The Mewtwo Y Mega is out, but they've had to back up here. They did not fancy the assault. They didn't have the backup ready in time. Now they're going to decide to make an assault onto these Midbirds, get themselves up to the top path, ready for this Regieleki fight, Scared. Not too much farm on the map. They're doing really well, these two teams. And this is pretty neck and neck. So, yeah, this fight's going to be insane for the Regieleki.
Yeah, right now that's a big wall pin down right away. Blaziken has not been having a good time at all, constantly on that struggling end. And we are seeing UCL constantly scratching onto that exact same wound. Another fly, and it seems like we're going once again.
That's a lovely block into the wall by Snorlax, dropping Azumarill really low. The triple axle is out. There's the Queen Ascendant coming out on the Azumarill, sending them back to home pad for some healing. this Serena is absolutely popping off right now. Hasn't lost a single piece of HP there. Starts to go to work on the Rigoletti, but there's still a big presence from Oricorios. 107 to 77 on the board. And it looks like they're going to have to back up here, scared for the refight.
Yeah, maybe they've overstayed their welcome right now because Blaziken is having a fun time down bottom, but seeing that they're quickly trying to capitalize on the man advantage that they've got as Umbreon quickly hops in and Zoomeril as well all the way from top side. Wanted to get a piece of that, but Serena constantly zoning every single one of them out. All of them are so low, one flying can eventually end them. But Snorlax is the first one to catch the first pick on Umbreon as Zeraora catches another pick onto his Zoomeril. There's a constant scoring at least on one or the other side though, but the Zeraora with the discharge has been on point.
That was absolutely beautiful gameplay from our Umbreon there, pulling at least 2 players into that discharge, just allowing so much damage to go through. Snorlax then, heavy slam into the back line and a block off of that base. And now MUCL are going to work with a huge overcap on that top tier, 205 to 111. It looks like Oxford Oricorios, in all that chaos though, got some huge stacks on Blaziken. And we just got a pause request here from the admins. Oh, no, we're straight back in, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how fast we quickly fix all of the issues. But you know what? We're going to hold it down the pace at least. Maybe just fixing up some connection issues out there. But we're working on it, ladies and gentlemen. And we appreciate all of your patience. But Tens, talk me through that early to mid-game transition, because first it seemed that Oxford Oricorios were the one who were having a fun time, not a lot of problems out there. Talonflame was surviving in the nick of the HP, but as long as you're alive, that's the well and good thing. But eventually, over towards the top, Reggie Lakey, that's where we saw entirely the fight swap. And I think so one of the big reasons was the Zarina with the Unite move.
Yeah, MUCL really got themselves on top towards the middle of that game, didn't they? Like you said, Oxford Oricorios had the best of it for the first sort of few minutes. Yeah, it's so difficult to know what was happening there because we did see the Blaziken getting some scores in, some stacks in the bot side while all that chaos was happening, which did leave Oxford Oricorios a player short in the top side for that fight. But whether they were there or not, I'm not sure if that would have mattered, Scared, because, like I said, Umbreon pulling those 2 players into that discharge was just a genius play and just was the catalyst for MUCL going on to dunk so many points in that top tier. It's all to play for though, isn't it? Because it's so close.
And that's the fun part about it. It's going just so very close. I was about to mention as well that I think so if Blaziken was there, maybe he could have got a 3K, he could have got a 4K just because of the HPs that was so very low for the side of MUCL over towards the end of that fight. So I think so again, not having that one Pokemon early on, that was definitely the deal changer entirely, because it was that one big block coming in from Snorlax into the discharge of Zeraora as well, quickly finishing off Blaziken. And I think so a big amount of credit I am actually going to give it to Zeraora, because even when his team was losing out in the early game, his timings onto the enemy's backline was picture perfect. Dodging away Talonflame and then jumping in, trying to catch down either the Blaziken or the Talon, or even, dishing out some damage on the Azumarill. He was always on point. And I think so if you are having such a great day, or if you're being in the zone, that basically can lead your team to a big victory. And that's why we are seeing them in a certain amount of lead.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a reason why these teams are in the top 4, that's for sure. And we've seen some great matches so far. So let's take it back to where we just were. Blaziken getting some stacks in on the bot side did actually lock in that objective for Oxford Oricorios as well. So they did get some good value by being down on that bot path. Maybe that was the play. And so it's not all lost. They lost a lot of KOs and a lot of points on the top side, but that value was also gained by being available on the bot side to stack, to take that objective. For me, Snorlax has been absolutely insane so far, jumping into the backline, heavy slam block, just allowing to pick up the KOs, pick up the scores. And there's been some fantastic gameplay from these teams so far. I'm just so excited to get back into it, Scared.
Absolutely. Can't really wait to go back into that one again, as you mentioned, because yes, even though Blaziken was not there in the top fight, he was having a good amount of time in farming up. But it eventually still boils down to how well can you set things up for your team. Snorlax, as a Pokemon, has got such a kit that you can initiate with it as well as you can try and disengage with it when the time comes because of that constant walls, the blocks that always come in. So, and I think so. The player has been doing a phenomenal job at that, and I'd have to give it to Blue A as well on that Zeraora. But again, it always falls down to how well can you outpoke the other side, or how well can you try to set things up for your own team as well. Because we saw Psyduck as well going in for some of his own skills too, where we set things up for Resumeril, who was constantly going in for those pokes. It's been a push and pull between both of these teams, and just like how we normally saw all the way back in the first match and in the first game itself between BBs as well as their opponents. I always get their names mixed up. Yeah, Brazil Blissies versus Cloudbridge. In the first game, the Rayquaza fight was just so very close. It could have gone either ways. It just went for Cloudbridge's side because they were able to get that first Pokemon pick. I think so. We're gonna see some kind of similar end to this one game itself with the way how things are going because it's constantly a back and forth right now. In the starting, we had Oxford who were having a big advantage. Now Musial are the ones who are controlling the pace. I think so. Once you see Talonflame farm up a bit more and get a couple of extra levels too, maybe those flies are going to hurt a lot to this arenas or maybe even catch Zeraora in the action.
Absolutely, yeah. The way the speedsters have been popping off so far in this match, Talon and Zera are always going to have a big part to play with the huge burst they provide, but we're going to have to wait no longer. Sorry about that, everybody. We just had to get a player back in. Not too much farm up on the map, Scared. It is 205 to Musial, 111 to Oxford Oricorios. 4 minutes to go.
Just a couple of more minutes from the Rayquaza time. Wherever there's a Rayquaza, people are always finding their ways into the game itself. But for now, I think so it's going to be very crucial for Umbreon, Blaziken, as well as the Talon to launch in this combination over towards the top arena.
Queen Ascendant coming out. There's the Flame Sweep, lands but doesn't pull anybody away. The huge Zeraora is up here picking up the KOs. There's the heavy slam. The defense is on from UCL. Oxford are having to head for the hills. But yeah, that was so unfortunate. We saw some Unite moves used there from both teams. Quite a few came out. This is the time to use your Unite moves, right, Scared? Because you've got no more time after this. You need to save them for the Rayquaza or be farming them back up in that last minute before that big green dragon hits the map. Because everything comes down to that for these two teams. Very, very close.
One good thing that always happens once you lose your tier 1s of top and bottom is that the bees are now spawned in your area, so you can eventually go and take that. You also get those extra farm on the sides as well, so that helps you quickly get that level gap closed in. Right now, as you can see, only Zeraora is the one who's level 13. Apart from that, yeah, it's arena level 12. Rest all of the people have just turned 11 right now. If you really compare it to the other side, Oxford Oricorios are keeping it really solid in terms of the level. But I think so. This Zap pick over towards the top might actually change the game.
Yeah, very, very smart from Oxford Oricorios, getting some dunks in that bot side as basically all of UCL were up. The rip has started, fly into the back line, Snorlax heavy slams in. They need to keep this damage going because all of UCL are heading down. This could be a huge, huge moment for either of these teams if they can get a pick up here, Scared. The Red Ice is going to go over to Oxford Oricorios. They've got a nice buff there heading into this final stretch. 265 to 166 on the scoreboard, and the teams are getting themselves into position here.
Yeah, a bit of an HP advantage out there. Again, Talon going in for the Unite move as well. Getting caught in opposition though is Arena will have to run away. As there's a big chase out there from the other side. A big knockup coming in from Snorlax, getting some big HP out there. Discharge from Zeraora, catches Psyduck in the backside, and also Azumarill on the other side. Quickly answering back, and it's check button combination. Blaziken into the Azumarill, quickly deleting the backline of the other side. It's down to a 2v2 right now. Umbreon and Zoomeril from one, while Musiel running with the Serena super low in that HP, and so is Blaziken on the other end, as it's still gonna go all the way down as everyone else will spawn back up. It was an extended team fight, but it still ends in neither side's victory, but the advantage is for Musiel.
Yeah, this is very smart from UCL. Zeraora going up there to cover that top side. It looks like the refight is going to be on again. Another huge heavy slam block coming out from our Snorlax. Pushing Psyduck into that wall, not able to do much. Talonflame goes down from Zeraora. Can they get a hundo in top? No, Zeraora saw it coming. They have 45 seconds now, Scared. They need to get a rip onto this Rayquaza or get a big push onto that top tier. Down goes the Snorlax. That is a huge pickup. They need to go now or never. Psyduck heading down for a score in the bot side. Can they get it in?
It's a big question right now. There's just so much space that the Zeraora is constantly covering with all of his skills. There's so many again, Eos energy remaining as well down there as Rayquaza now being started by the side of Oxford or Rigorios as Talon pops in with the fly. They want to quickly get that execution line, but look at Zeraora down bottom side, and I kind of like the counterplay from Oxford or Rigorios, but they do not have enough time to hop in for any kind of scoring. It's all the way down to the last 2 seconds. Do they have enough? Is the big question, and I think so. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think so. They've got it. I think so. It's Meowscale who will eventually win.
Oh, that is unbelievable. Oxford Couriers didn't get a dunk in. They didn't get a dunk in. They could have got one. They just waited for that hundo, which would have actually given them a 1 point victory there, Scared. Oh, no way. They needed like a second to get that in. And they would have taken the win by 1 point. That is so unfortunate for Oxford. But what a match that was. What a Ray fight that was. These two teams absolutely popped off there. Bluey on the Zeraora, 79k damage, was a constant menace. 83k coming through from Red Link on the Azumarill was insane at that Ray fight as well, getting a huge pickup, allowing the push onto that Rayquaza, getting that locked in. Big secure as well from our Blaziken. Unfortunately, though, could not get the score in, Scared, and that is what really matters in this game.
Fortunately for UCL, I'll have to say, otherwise I thought maybe Oxford or Rigorios will eventually put it all the way back. That was actually very close. But I did like the vigilance coming in from UCL, understanding that yes, maybe the entire fight in front of us is just a facade only to set someone up on the top side. And I'll have to say, even Zeraora, with the skill set he went with, I think so that was a really solid idea with constantly covering so much space in just one of that. That's one of the big reasons why there were no backdoor or there were no backdoor plays from the side of Oxford or Rigorios. Even though they tried for it, they eventually were interrupted, and Blaziken also was not able to score that big 100 on the top side.
So unfortunate, wasn't it? Because we saw, I think it was Talonflame got there first with the 97 dunk, which actually wouldn't have been enough. But yeah, that Ray fight was insane, wasn't it? We saw a huge fight in the middle there. Musial and Oxford or Corio's losing very much every player, coming back for that refight. And I actually thought that Oxford or Corio's may have sort of stalled it out absolutely perfectly, locking in that secure at the end with the Blaziken. I did see the Umbreon player went back to the base pretty smartly to stop any backcaps potentially. This game of Unite is all about seconds, isn't it? And we just think if Umbreon stuck around just to lock a little bit of damage onto that Rayquaza, just maybe they would have had that second or two to get that score in. But there's no right or wrong play there, is there, Scared? Because either way, you could have potentially stopped a really important back cap by going back to the home base. So it's so difficult to know what to do in these really high pressure moments.
And I did like the idea as well of Umbreon hopping back, because the Zeraora was ready to pop in another 100 directly as soon as he would have seen an empty pod out there. So I think so the idea was good. Again, it just went down for those additional 2 or 3 seconds that they could have had, which would have changed the outcome of the game. I think so it was again that hesitation that came in from them, as you rightly mentioned during the fight as well, that the moment they picked Snorlax, that was the perfect time to go for the Rayquaza. They should have quickly started it off as well. They would have had enough time to go for the scores. And of course, the rest of the thing could have played out in the similar way. But could have, would have, should have, all these things kept aside now. That's one thing that happened in the previous one. Now the focus is going to be in the next. And I don't particularly think that it was a draft problem. I think so. It all just came down to those last second decision makings.
Absolutely. No, like we said from the start, I thought both drafts from Oxford Oricorios and UCL were fantastic, to be honest. And you saw it in the game as well. It was so back and forth. We did have a DC from one player at a certain point as well, so that could have sort of swung the balance. We had to pause for a little while, but yeah, it was so close, wasn't it? It was so unfortunate for Oricorios. They just couldn't get that 100 in to give them the 1 point victory. We could talk about it all day, couldn't we? Unite is so much about seconds. You see it so often where a team misses out on a victory by just a second or two. I can't think of the amount of times I've seen that while casting.
Yeah, I mean, you only have a 10-minute game out there, and that's a clock running backwards. So nothing apart from that. You always have to make those split-second decisions, and that's one of the big things that separate Pokemon Unite from any other MOBA game in general, is because in all the other ones, the clock is moving forward. You can try and stall the game for as long as possible in order for your team to get activated. That is not the case here. You have to get activated from the first second itself. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to let the other side snowball, and those snowballs can eventually get out of control. But I did like the idea as well, again, from Oxford Oricorios. Even though they lost the early two pods of top and bottom, they still were able to hold it down. They were the ones who technically had the level advantage, at least overall, if not the highest level out there. But since we're already on that topic, right, I think so maybe now, since the sides are going to be swapped up, Oxford Oricorios on the purple side, maybe they can either pick the Zeraora up for themselves, or maybe they can just ban it out, because Blue Wave was playing really good on that.
Absolutely. It's a lot to be said, isn't there, for the speedsters? And we know once they're let through that there's going to be some insane gameplay. We've seen it from Leafeon tonight. We've seen it from Zeraora. We haven't seen any Absol yet, which is interesting because that is really powerful right now. Here we go then, Scared, into the next ban phase, and nobody wants to see Blissey tonight, it seems. That Bliss assistance into the backline can cause all sorts of problems.
Yeah, they're like, we don't do that here. That's what they've been saying. I think so. It's going to be a Hoopa ban on the other side, though. We'll just have to wait and see. And yep, it actually is going to be that Hoopa. Understanding the big problem. And, I mentioned about the Zeraora maybe just being banned out from Oxford Oricorios this time, and they actually have. They don't want anything of what Blue is going to be selling for that. So maybe this time around, we're going to see something different on the other side.
I love these two bans coming in from both teams, to be honest. 4 Pokemon that can really cause problems, but there is so much that has been let through here. We've got Talonflame available, Umbreon available, Grand Blue on the Snorlax was insane last game, by the way, so looks like they may just go for that lock-in again. We're going to see Red Deli picking up the Blaziken, which had a huge secure on the Rayquaza last game. We're just going to wait and see if it is going to be the Snorlax locked in here. There we go.
As soon as you ask for the wait is instantly over. And Grand Blue is going to show us the Snorlax gameplay yet again, though. But maybe on the other side, this time you can pick a few things that can answer back that Snorlax. And to be honest, when we were seeing Oxford Oricorios play on that Talonflame, he was doing a pretty decent job. But there was this one problem that I thought was there, was the fact that he was constantly committing with the fly multiple times onto Grand Blue. And that's the beefy frontliner you do not want to target in at least the mid to late game. Now this, I do like it a bit more better. Leafeon, the second EV out here as well, along with the Clefable, no Blissey, it's absolutely fine. We're going to sing all of them out with the Clefable.
Yeah, it's very interesting, the Clefable pickup. Not always the support we see, but the support of choice for Oxford Oricorios here with Blissey and Hooper off the map can definitely have a lot to say. But A9 has been locked in here. Very interesting in the face of when you've got Grand Blue on the Snorlax and Red Deli on the Blaziken that really want to get into your face. A9 could be really interesting. Has really nice CC, the Snow Globe AoE move does so much work in those important moments. But again, we see Red Link lock it in. Must be a main here, Scared. Azumarill played really well last time on that.
When you say main, I hear one trick, but maybe, I think so. Maybe he can bring all the best strengths of Azumarill out in this one. I think so. He was doing a pretty solid job in the previous one, I must say. Constantly being in the noses of Musiel, poking them out like anything. Also, iframing a few of the moves on the other side. I'm on for it. Porelde finally being picked up as well from Herasor. This one could actually go anywhere. Again, I'll have to say, it totally depends on how A9 plays it all out. How quickly can he actually get all of those crowd controls in? Because even if you think about it, as much as Blaziken and Snorlax want to get in your faces, even Talonflame would eventually jump right on top of you with the fly as well. So you need some kind of CC to either hold them down or push them all back. So this game is heavily dependent on A9.
Yeah, absolutely. Snowglow amazing at locking in so much damage on opponents, CCing them out of the match. But we see two speedsters in the match again, Scared. I always go back to them because they can have such a huge effect. Whether that is your team picking up the KO on the opposing speedster or your speedster getting a big KO on the opposing team. We're going to have Emerald Two-Step. We're going to have Flame Sweep. But here we go. Oxford Oricorio's on your purple side. UCL now on your orange side.
Big out changes, maybe not so much in terms of the draft, but at least we will see it in terms of those sides, in terms of those colors. As towards the top, quickly gonna see, seems like more of a peace treaty signed up, right? You go for your own scores, we are gonna go for our own scores, we stack up our own items, and then we go in for the fight. So pretty fun thing out there happening at the same time though. But again, we're gonna see the Talonflame maybe rotating over towards that top, while at the bottom side, it's just gonna be a pretty solid battle. Clever.
Down they go. How unfortunate that is, but a big KO in return on the top side for Oricorio's. Azumarill locking that one in. Red Link pop it off again. There's an assault onto that top tier. The defense is coming through down here from our little Vulpix. Sends Snorlax packing back to the home base. Dropping really low, in fact. Nice defense coming through from UCL in the end, but it's a very strong start here for Oxford Oricorios. The first set of mid-bursts have hit the map. A lovely aerial ace coming in from the Talon there, who does have to back up in the face of Red Link. Dives back in, Flame Sweeps out and has to pop the eject button there, Scared. Very important KO picked up now on Azumarill, who did try and pick up the KO on Talon. Pop back to the home base for a bit of healing. Now back smartly to do that jungle rotation. Leafeon also doing the same here.
Bit of an overextension from the Azumarill there and a nice pick on the back of it. So the farm constantly going back and forth. Just know the scores. Right now it's in favor of Oxford Oricorios, and at the same time, we constantly see this domination up over on top as again another pick by the man. Red is just being red as a hot sauce. First burning through the mouths of the other side though. But towards the mid is where we're going to see another engages. Bees being exchanged from both the sides. As Talon managed to quickly run away back to the safety with the fly. Was able to iframe a lot of the lethal damage from the Leafeon. But you know what? I'll have to say, one thing I really love about Snorlax, it kind of reminds me of myself. Not because I'm chunky out there. No. The main reason is that even I sleep through my problems and that man sleeps through his problems.
Yeah, absolutely, Scared. The analogy is perfect as a big push comes through on the bot side from UCL. Clefable doing everything they can. The side strike lands. Boom! Now down they go, trying to escape in the flux zone, but that final boosted lands and they cannot escape. We have 63 on the board. UCL taking a small lead in the face of Oxford Oricorios at 54. The first set of objectives are about to hit the map here, and both teams' levels across the board looking pretty similar here. What a match so far.
It's constantly been back and forth. If one of the lanes is for one team, the other one is being stolen by the other side. Like the bottom one for UCL, the top one for Oxford Oricorios, but another engage down the Regirock.
Oh, a huge Emerald Two-Step comes through from our Leafeon onto that Talonflame who tried to dive into the back line. It's so important to connect with that Flame Charge, because if you don't, you are running the risk of getting KO'd by the opposing speedster. The Razor Leaf is out. Are they going to drag that back at the perfect time? Luckily, locked that in. It survived on 1 HP, potentially allowing a steal to come through from UCL. The top side has been broken, Scared, and that Regieleki is heading towards the UCL Tier 2.
And absolutely, apart from that happening, yes, they also found the timing to steal away the red buff as well. I love the macro that's coming in from Oxford Oricorios. They're losing one part of the map, but they're making sure that the pressure on the other side is constantly applied to relieve them from the bottom one. So I do like the idea that they're bringing, and I think so this game is still going to go all the way back down to the last Rayquaza fight as well. Again, just one last big B remaining, which eventually was stolen away as well, as Snorlax wants to survive.
Huge infinite Cyburn to avoid the damage from the Emerald two-step that dived into the backside, but Razor Leaf picks up that big KO anyway. Talon is in the backside as well, causing so many problems. Down goes Leafeon. The fly is up, lands on Red Link, who's in big trouble. Huge Unite coming through. It is a fly from Clefable into the back line. Talon's going to respond with their own fly. Focus Blast picks that up from our Blaziken, and yeah, it looks like Musial are going to defend this really well, but the points have gone in for Oricorios, Scared, and it is 109 to 63 as we head into the mid-game here.
Sneaking their points past all the way towards top when they were losing the fight down bottom. They're playing the macro game really well, but the question is for how long can they carry it forward, because when it comes to those 5v5 fights, yeah, we are seeing Meowscale dominate them, and that too in such a solid manner. And I think so the crucial Unite move in the bottom fight was definitely Talonflame, bringing both Azumarill as well as Alolan Ninetales towards, or rather behind their first pad itself. So they had the movement speed locked down, and eventually it was easier to land in those flies, but for now, another fly to escape.
Yeah, it was a lovely Aqua Tail, wasn't it, from Red Link onto our Talonflame there. Again, the Flame Sweep is out to get away. Lovely Cotton Cloud Crash was up. Down goes our Azumarill. Did they do enough to allow our A9 to rip through this objective? They are doing all they can. It's really low. The Flame Sweep is out. The fly connects, and that is really unfortunate. Oricorio is doing everything they could to sort of zone out the opponents. In goes the Regieleki. Oh, Scared. How unfortunate was that for the A9? So close to securing that, but Fly came in. What a secure from UCL. They are now on top as an Infinite Cyburn lands on everybody there.
Yeah, now Snorlax is just trying to survive, but you can't sleep through all of those people out there, my man. Will eventually be deleted, and during all that time, Blaziken was just having fun down bottom, taking down the tier 1 already, has chunked down the tier 2 to some extent. Now maybe just for consolation, they're going to let that Regidog go to the other side though, but there's another fly, and maybe we're going to see a disengage.
Lovely Snow Globe came out for our A9. Here we go. Oxford Oricorios are making an assault onto this bot tier after taking a huge bot objective. The Power Nap is out on the base. They're going to roll over, knock up 3, but Umbreon has found the sweet spot. They're going to dunk a huge cap. I didn't quite catch it in the end. I thought the 50 was going to go in, but I think we got a 40. It's about a 22 overcap. What a period of play from Oricorios, bringing this back pretty close, Scared, as we head towards the famous Rayquaza.
And it's also a perfect time as well, because when the bees spawn, now they're still in the favor of Oxford Oricorios, so they're going to get a bit of an extra farm out there, as already level 14 being hit up on the Leafeon. And I think so before that 2-minute mark, that's going to be the most crucial level out here. Talon hits 13, but that's still one level less than what Leafeon is going to bring on the other side. He was melting through the Snorlax in an instant with the Leaf Blades, and I think so if they manage to do that again, it's going to be a big problem right now. Snorlax and Mew don't really have the Unite, which Snorlax just got right now. But looking at the macro advantage, Umbreon has got so much map space for his team.
Yeah, we've seen a Regieleki spawn, no one fancying that. Oh, what a heavy slam into the bush, picks up 4 players there. Our Snorlax knew exactly what was going on. Fly to the back line, there it is, Flame Sweep goes through, and that is absolutely huge. Eject from our A9. What is going on? The Snow Globe unfortunately doesn't connect. Heavy slam into the back line, the Power Nap is out. It looks like it is just Umbreon left for the Oricorios, who pops the Moonlight Prance, doing everything possible, but this one is going over to MUCL. They have had an absolutely insane Ray fight there. What did you think, Scared, of that heavy slam into the bush, picking up 4 to start it off there?
I'm pretty sure that the reason why he found out was because Azumarill or either Alolan Ninetales, one of them just hopped into that bush at the last second when Snorlax was almost in front of it. I think so that gave it away, and that's the reason why he went in for that big heavy slam in the bush. And after that, the Ninetale with that Unite yet again was caught by the Talon on the other side. I think so. I'll have to say the Talon Flame is going to be the MVP for me in this game because of his constant Unite moves. He was able to not just catch Alolan Ninetales and Azumarill, but rather bring in, disrupt the positioning so much that it did not even matter for all of that anti-CC. I just loved it how he played Alolan, how he played the Talon Flame. And on the back of it now, with a 500 score, it's already done for. All they need to do is just defend and maybe not get picked off.
Oh, looks like Blaziken's going to go down. There's a big fight going on here. It is Fly again. Look at that flame sweep into the backline, taking 2 down the Flux Zone. Another Snow Globe from our A9 is picked up pretty quickly. Talonflame, like you just said, Scared, has been really good for Musiel. It's come down to our speedster again. Bluey, who was insane on the Zeraora, I believe it was, in the first match. Lovely 68 going in for the Oricorios, though. Great to see them not give it up and bring the scores a little closer. Moonlight Prance lands, Power Snap is out as we see the 2 players there having a little unite off in the last second of the match. But that was fantastic from UCL and fantastic from obviously the Corios as well. Scared. Brilliant game.
Phenomenal game indeed. And it's Blue again getting that MVP with the 88 rating as well, 150 points scored. 5 of those kills for this man and 9 assists. Now that's where the most important part is. Normally with your supports, you have those 9 assists, like Yanbi with 10 for himself, Fran Blue 92 with 9 of him. It clearly shows you how Bluey was so active in those fights. 81,000 damage being dealt in total. Though Red Link is the man who's basically going to take that away from him by 86,000 for his own self. It eventually came down to that one last Rayquaza fight again, and it was that big body slam by the Snorlax into the Talonflames Unite onto the Azumarill as well as the Alolan Ninetales. You have to feel really sorry for A9 there because he tried his level best. He was constantly doing whatever he could, but you can't really stop a Ninetale flying behind you and then pulling you away from your team to the other side.
Absolutely, yeah. Like we said, the Talonflame was insane for the Musiel, but we saw it, didn't we? The fly into the backline, a flame sweep trying to pull that A9 across into the opponents, but we saw a lovely eject button to avoid that. A9 perfectly timing that. Then unfortunately, the follow-up Snow Globe didn't quite connect. That could have changed things. The AoE of that Unite move can really cause problems for the opponents. But yeah, it was a really great game, and Oricorios gave it everything throughout. Big push onto the bot side to bring things level towards the end. It was a really exciting game to cast, and I think all teams tonight so far have really put on a show and should be proud of their performances.
I've been enjoying that a lot. I'll have to say, I'm going to be a bit more biased. I think so. The second game was even more competitive and more close as compared to what we had in the first one itself. So, nothing taken away from Oxford Oricorios. They did a phenomenal job. They almost stole away the first game itself and maybe had a chance in the second one too. They were giving a very good fight to the other side. Yes, it eventually just came down to that one last fight towards the Rayquaza, which they could not claim as their own. A couple of misfortunes happening, or rather, I'd have to say outplays by Meowscale out there. But now, with all that said and done, the final is going to be between Cloudbridge and Meowscale, but that will not be what's next. Next one is going to be the third place match right now between the teams who could not move over towards that finish line. That's going to be Brizzy Blissies up against Oxford Oricorios. And with what happened right now, Tens, I'll have to say I'm leaning in a bit more towards Oxford Oricorios.
Yeah, I mean, Brizzy Blissey struggled a little bit in their first draft, didn't they, tonight? But we take nothing away. It is a very big pressure situation for these teams, probably not used to playing and being casted by people such as ourselves talking about their matches. But I think they've all handled it really well. Even Blissey's came out in that second game and did a much better draft, absolutely solid, and gave a much better performance as well. So it's going to be a close one between Oricorios and Blissey's in this next match that we've got coming up. It's going to be an exciting one for yourself and Tej to cast. It's probably about time almost for me to take a little rest, get a drink on board. But yeah, before we do that, Who are you fancying, Scared? Clodbridge or UCL in this grand finals later on? Let's have a quick chat about this.
Oh my God. I know, I was actually hoping for the producer call to send us on to a break, but you still asked me that question. Before we move on to the break, I'm going to think of answering that. Maybe Meowciel is actually going to keep this one off. Maybe they're going to be the champions of this one. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, all of that can wait right now. We're going to be heading into a short break. On the other side of the break, we're going to be up watching Oxford Oricorios up against Brizzy Blizzies. Don't go anywhere.
Vision, I'll be blaming it on divine intuition. I'll be praying for a divine intervention or anything else that gets my attention. And I'm falling for you. You're a fine invention, the sort of poison to me, but I keep forgetting. And now I'm halfway in and I'm half alive. You take my face and you hold it up to the light. Take me home. If not you, not here, then I don't know. As above, as ever, so below. Something here was bound to take me home. Saw you in a field of ice and snow, holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my bones that something here was bound to take me home. You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voice.
The UK Unite playoffs have been showing us some peak Pokemon Unite gameplay, but now it's time for us to figure out who are going to be reaching at the second highest peak out there to get that third spot. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You're watching UK Unite playoffs. It's going to be me, your host and caster Skated. Alongside me, we've got Tej back up, who, after taking a much needed break for one game, is here on out for the next one and then for the grand finals after this. So, Tej, welcome back, first of all. And the previous game was a super exciting one.
Oh, it was so good. I was so glad that Musiel came out on top. I made it no secret that I favored them to win that one. Unfortunately, though, Oxford Oricorios could not dance their way to victory in that one, but could they take the third spot there? I feel like they've got a slightly better chance than Brizzy Blissies just from how we've seen them play so far. So I'm very, very excited to see who comes and takes this third spot.
I'll have to say, me in my own region, whenever I'm casting any game or Pokemon Unite or anything in general, whenever I give my own predictions, yeah, the exact opposite results happens out, it plays out. So I think so, the reason why Meowciel came out on top was because you and me both predicted it. So, two negatives make a
That
positive.
must make
That's something.
sense.
Absolutely. Such a lame joke is what I'm known for cracking. But you know what? I'm pretty sure that this one game is going to be cracking out there because even I think Oxford Oricorios, with the way how they played in the previous one, have got slightly better advantage. But my question will fall down to the same thing. In this matchup, We clearly saw that Talonflame was left open, Umbreon was left open, you were picking the Snorlax as well. I don't think so. The same luxury is going to be enjoyed by Oxford or Icorios in the next one. We might possibly see these Pokemons being banned out.
I would not be surprised. They are very commonly banned out. Snorlax and Talonflame all both just so strong in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a ban on them, especially since Suicune is global banned as well. It does look like
Yeah.
Oxford Oricorios have banned out the Blissey, which is we've been seeing as a pretty common ban all throughout tonight so far. And there we go, a Snorlax ban coming out from Brizzy Blizzies, and the Talonflame, just as we called, and surprisingly, a Slowbro ban coming out from Oxford Oricorios. Now, that does leave the Zeraora on the table, which we have seen do a humongously good job so far. And in fact, they actually pick up the Mimikyu first, which we've not seen so much of tonight.
To be honest, I kind of do like the idea where they're leaning into a bit more. They want to go in for the heavy dive composition, and Slowbro kind of counters that as well by locking one of the other side down. So I think so, picking up, banning the Slowbro, then picking up the Mimikyu, give them a bit more leeway for the similar thing. But, an extra bit of healing out there, you know. We don't normally see one in the first series, but Brizzy Blissies locking in the Clefable along with the Comfy gives them a lot of healing, but I'm not quite sure how they're gonna scale it all the way up with the tankiness as well as the damage, because again the other side looks super beefy.
Indeed, you don't commonly see a double supporter pick, let alone double healing. So I wonder what their strategy here is going to be. Maybe the Clefable is going to be sort of like a general heal for the team, and then we're going to see Comfy kind of pocket their carry. They did pick up the Meowscarada, so it could make sense, since Meowscarada is jumping around all over the place, would make it easier if it had its own healer. But look at Oxford Oricorios. I mean, they've got double dive and then triple frontline. There's so much CC coming out from Oxford Oricorios, so much burst damage, and I feel like they're gonna struggle. Like Brizzy Blizz is gonna struggle a little bit dealing with that, because especially with how Oxford Oricorios play, their playstyle was a bit more aggressive than Brizzy Blizzies. I feel like that this front line sort of comp style is just going to put a lot of pressure onto Brizzy Blizzies, and now we got to see whether the Blissey will crack under the pressure or not.
Yeah, the big thing is right now, in order to crack them, they've also got the Metagross on the other side. So yeah, I don't know how you're gonna survive against that, specifically when the only front line you technically have is a Buzzwool. Yeah, you've got the Clefable, you've also got the Comfy, but I don't know if the healing's gonna be enough, because there's the burst damage which you have to worry about by Mimikyu as well as the Leafeon. And again, even though there's a Gardevoir, I don't know if it's going to be well protected, though. That's a big, big question. I'll have to say I'm going in leaning a lot more towards Oxford Oricorios right now.
I have to agree. I was thinking about it a little bit more as well. I think only Clefable was gonna that gravity can put a lot of disruption down for the side of Oxford Oricorios, just because they're gonna have a lot of dash moves on that side. I mean, Umbreon quite likely gonna have Foul Play. If not, then Meanlook is still okay too. But then Mamoswine will have a dash move with either Earthquake or High Horsepower. You got some dash moves from Metagross if you go the Zen Headbutt move. So that gravity could play a vital role, but I just don't think they have enough on the side of Brissy Blizzies to sort of counter that, other than the Gardevoir, well, you know, into that gravity combo could be something, but time will tell. We'll just have to see as we get into this game. Leafeon takes the jungle over on purple side, and Meowscarada taking it for Oxford Oricorios. This is going to be Brizzy Blissies. It's going to be a very interesting one. Boswell getting in a stack 2 and an early gank from Leafeon. Wasn't able to stop that score, but is trying to put some pressure, hopefully take down the Boswell. The Comfy does drop on, gives him some heals, but they do go down in the face of 3. And now it's just Comfy left to defend that pad all by themselves.
Yeah, now all the predictions are just going to flip on the other side, though, because it's Oxford Oricorios right now who are actually running in with that double heel composition to itself. So, again, just have to wait and see how it eventually pans out for them. Uh, Again, it's so aggressive right now for Brizzy Blissies, right? Again, both towards the top, bottom, constantly. There's another play by Leafeon as well down bottom. Quickly securing that one pick. Buzzwool on the top was able to support for the bees itself, but again was not able to steal all of that up. Mimikyu is going to be so problematic on the other side. You really have to save this Gardevoir down all the way till mid to late game itself. Now, this is what I wanted to mention. Gardevoir, it takes a lot more time for him to come online and then eventually be productive in those fights, or rather be impactful in those fights. Don't really see the same thing on the other side. Mimikyu comes online pretty fast, Leafeon super fast, Metagross almost online already. So it's a big play out top though.
Indeed. I mean, there's a lot of level scaling on both sides, and so far we're seeing a lot more levels coming out from this Metagross. Mamoswine climbing up to their 8 and 9 very slowly too. So the level advantage is definitely in favor there, and we already see a points score lead as well, 101 to 11. So this is going to be a very interesting game. I feel like Boswell really needs to scale up a lot more here in order to be more impactful for their team. But again, they're just going into such a hard team comp here. It's just a lot of front line, a lot of damage that Boswell is going to just have to try and survive through. And will the comfy heals be enough? I don't know, but that was a huge slam there from the Boswell, but Mimikyu does pick him up, and then the comfy for the 2 KO. 13 points goes in from the Umbreon. Umbreon getting a couple stacks there. Mimikyu just trying to collect up as much points as they can. They want to just get a massive, as big of an overcap onto this tier 1 as they can. We see another 9 points go in, and then the 30 goes in from the Mimikyu, while Leafeon was able to rip down that Registeel.
Yeah, and on the back of it though, I'll have to say Cliffable just reaching level 5, not helping at all. The bare minimum 3 level disadvantage already from a couple of players on the other side is a big problem right now. 194 to 11, already a big lead coming in, and the Metagross as well. It's just deleting anyone who's coming up in front of him. And you mentioned it perfectly. The Buzzwool just does not have enough right now. Maybe a couple of slams can eventually go in, but he still has to block off the Regieleki itself. And if you're blocking the Regieleki off, who's gonna block the rest of the people out there as they quickly break the tier 2? And we're not even in the second half of this entire match. It's still 6 more minutes remaining, along with 5 extra seconds on top of that, and they're already down to just 1 pad down bottom, and the base, they don't have the access to their jungle. I think so it's gonna fall down to pieces for Oxford Oricorios.
There's a huge amount of pressure that was put on there by Oxford Oricorios. As you said, that goal zone is already down. Brizzy Blissies have got a lot of catching up to do with both farm and points. This is 322 to 11. This is crazy. This was more reminiscent of the first match that we saw with Clodsbridge versus Brizzy Blissies. Gosh, that name is such a tongue twister. So maybe we can see a bit of a comeback in that second game, but that's not a lot of breathing room for them to take 3rd place. That means they're going to have to go to a game 3 if they want to. But, you know, anyone's game still, this is a bit early to assume that it's going to come down to a game 3. We do see a big 5-man push coming in from Brizzy Blissies. They really want to just get some points, and they really need this points as we can hit 5 minutes. Just Mamoswine on this pad. Huge smackdown coming down from Boswell, pushing away Mamoswine, allowing his team to freely dunk in points. That top goal zone is gone, almost putting Brizzy Blissies at 100 points. And it's a good job now that they're sticking as a 5. They really need to take all these fights now as a 5 with this Regieleki now spawning up.
Yeah, a very solid attempt again by Buzzwool to try and catch onto the Leafeon, but the Mamoswine in his face was just able to obliterate them. Even the comp with the grasses was not able to save the HP of the other side, and just look at the quick retaliation by Brizzy Blissies on the other end, stealing away the jungle, taking all of them down one after the other. There's no path for you to survive. And they hop in one by one. They get deleted one by one as well. The Regieleki has been taken. Now you really need to stop this one. Because if it goes directly onto your base, then that's going to be an unstoppable scoring of a lot of, well, probably a couple of 100 points on the other side. That's a big, big problem for the side of Oxford Oricorios right now.
Indeed, this Regieleki is getting so close to the home pad. There is just the Gardevoir, Comfy, Buzzwell, trying to just hold it off right now. Oxford Oricorios have just tried backing off. They managed to dunk in a big 41 points into that bottom goal. Umbreon managing to get another stack. There's some poke damage coming in from Gardevoir. They're doing the best that they can to hold them off, but you cannot stop 6 points going in. That was unfortunately the Buzzwell did miss that superpower, and they do go down there. Mimikyu doing absolute humongous amounts of damage, just kind of waiting in that back lane. They did get that Shadow Sneak onto the Gardevoir, but the Gardevoir manages to get out, I believe, with an X speed and a Comfy healing. They are well protected, but that was a humongous Shadow Sneak from that Mimikyu. Holy moly. Umbreon diving in like there's no tomorrow, but he does get slammed around by Buzzwell. He does get crashed in by the Unite move. Wish could not save him there. A computer crash comes out from the Metagross. He's targeting that Gardevoir super heavily, but Gardevoir still lives thanks to that Clefable healing. And unfortunately, the Comfy Meowscarada combo does go down. I believe that was a triple KO for the Mimikyu, who's almost level 15 at 2.5 minutes. Only 30 seconds till Ray. Regirock's super low, and this does look like it's in favor for the Oxford Oricorios, while Blissies have to back on up. They have to take their farm. You know, they've had their jungle being invaded by Oxford Oricorios, so they do need to take this time to get their levels, and Mimikyu right now trying to get their level 15 before Ray.
They're probably going to be taking it way too quickly. And as you said, big level 15 already by Mimikyu. Leafeon as well, maybe almost on that path itself. So such a big problem right now, and a good amount of information being provided again by the Mamoswine. Eventually was figured out. There's a slam coming in from the Buzzwole trying to catch one, but there we go. Mamo bringing him back to his own team. There's no one to follow up on the back pit though, but still the support may be not there. On the other side though, full 5-man all the way caught out there, and double kill coming in already for them. And on the back of it, Comfy takes down the Metagross, who was not able to use his Unite move. Maybe if there's still a Ray, there could eventually be a way for Blissies to make them come back in this game. But I am looking at the Mimikyu. He might do something unthinkable.
Oh, that was so close from the Mimikyu. I think that play rough came out a little bit too late, but what a ultimate comment out from Gardevoir. I believe catching 3 or 4 of Oxford Oricorios in it. That was a huge game changer that they needed, but seeing a lot of shields kind of already down. There's not much Blissies can do here. They're still being well defended against that last shield getting taken away from the Clefable here. Gardevoir trying to do a very good job of just backing up the Blissey and trying to poke some damage in, but the Umbreon comes to their aid. There's not much that they can do with not much time left on the board. Umbreon picks up the Gardevoir. It's just down to the Meowscarada and the Clefable. Can they get something going here as the rest of Oxford Oricorios come down to defend this home pad, this base pad here? Meowscarada going down to the Metagross too. What a raid fight for Blissies, but unfortunately were not able to capitalize. Great defense coming out from Oxford Oricorios there.
Yeah, solid play from Oxford Oricorios, I'll have to say. And also at the same time, Blissey, as soon as they took that Rayquaza, eventually just scrambled around on every part of the map rather than, sticking together and then moving forward. It eventually came down to how well that Mimikyu could play it out. Was doing a phenomenal job. 16 kills for this guy is just crazy.
Mimikyu, definitely the MVP there. I still can't even get that Shadow Sneak out of my head onto the Gardevoir. Gardevoir managing to get away by the by literally an inch of their life. But a great
Yeah.
ultimate coming out from Chaos. It was just so unfortunate that they could not capitalize on that for the win. As you said, I believe if they pushed together, they probably would have had a better chance, or maybe just kind of waited around and stalled for a little bit of time. Who knows? There's no right answer in Unite, but there clearly was for Oxford Oricoros as they danced their way for the first win of this set. So yeah, what do you think
Yeah.
about is going to happen in this game too?
I mean, first of all, before I move on to that one, I'd have to say 93,000 damage being dealt by the Metagross is just insane. I'm pretty sure that he's going to be banned out for the next one quickly. You don't really want to see this man in that Ryoiki Tenkai of his. Just blows out your mind out there. And shout out to all the Jujutsu Kaisen fans out there too. At the same time, I think so maybe going in for this extra bit of healer composition is really not the way. Or even if they want to try something like that, maybe just moving directly down to adding an extra layer of either a couple of all-rounders into a mix, or rather an extra defender, and then going in for a couple of attackers too, or something along the similar lines could help them out. Because Buzzwool was not able to face tank all of that damage. You could try any type of combination on him, he will still get outclassed when there's such a solid meta lineup on the other side with the Leafeon, with the Metagross as well, Umbreon to try and stop any kind of progress. Even a Mamoswine just basically was knocking them all the way back using his tusk, man. It just eventually came down to the composition itself. So I think so. Brizzy babies will need to change that up a bit, and specifically their name.
Yeah, that name has been causing a problem for you and me both, my friend, as we keep
Yeah.
tripping over our words. I think that's the big win that they're taking out from tonight so far. But yeah, I would, as you said, like to see some changes coming up into their comp. I feel like their compositions have been a little bit unbalanced so far, and then they get countered by the other team very well on top of that. I do feel like Gardevoir was probably their best pickup there, considering what they were going into. But maybe starting out with two supports, maybe it was a misclick, who knows? But it probably wasn't their best way to start out. There was a lot of good picks, still on the table. Zeraora could have been picked up, Zeraora being so good in this meta right now. And as you said, probably an all-rounder or a defender that could soak in a bit more damage than just the Buzzwole. Even with all that healing, as you said, like, Buzzwole just can't do anything into all that stun and all that sort of damage coming in from Oxford Horicorios there.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand the idea with that double healer or what they wanted to try for that, but it still comes down to the fact that you need someone beefy who can actually soak up all of that damage. And if you've got a good amount of AoE healing, that's when you pair it up with a couple of all-rounders, maybe to try something new. I'm not saying that it's gonna 100% work, but it's something that you can maybe hit and try. But with just one all-rounder and not a lot into the mixtures, yeah, that's a big problem. Meowscrada, I was getting the idea behind that as well, but just could not see it working in any way with a lineup of such caliber on the other side was standing. So it's gonna come down to again those similar kind of bans too. But now since we're gonna swap the sides, we will have Oxford Oricorios will now be on the orange side, while Brizzy Blissies will be on the purple one. So they will have an opportunity to pick something up for themselves, maybe something along the lines of a Snorlax, maybe something like the Zeraora, if in case they decide to keep it open, that is. So that's a big if.
That's very true, and them being on purple team does give them the shot at first pick, so I wonder what they're going to take there. Maybe if Blissey isn't banned out, they'll pick up Blissey, who knows? I mean, Brizzy Blissey still yet to play a Blissey in one of tonight's games so far, so it'll be interesting to see sort of what they're planning to do for this game. I feel like they've so far been very experimental with their comps. I mean, we've seen like triple defenders and now double support. So maybe this is the time to tone back the experimentalism, especially when the third place is on the line here, and try and go for something a bit more bit more sound, a bit more tried and true tested kind of comp. I did like what they did with the Meowscarada and Buzzwole there, and I feel like if they could play around better with their strong suits on those kind of mons, that could be a more interesting and a better sort of shot for them to get to a win for this next game. And I feel like maybe even a double team Meowscarada could have been interesting or even a bit more powerful choice going into that game, especially with so much CC on the side of Oxford Oricoreos, who seem to very much favor this CC and front sort of damage soaky kind of comp style. So I hope they do also pick up that Gardevoir again, or maybe even the Delphox, which we've seen a lot of tonight and do a lot of havoc in the backline with the Fire Spin too.
Yeah, I remember in the first game itself, in the first match too. That's when the Delphox came out. Though, and you know what? There's another good idea right now in front of everyone. Maybe go for something like this composition. You see all these mons out here. Maybe go for a 5EV composition. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe throw in all the 4 healers with the Tyranitar out there in the mix. But though, yes, it's all jokes. No, don't try that. Don't try that whatsoever. I think so. Falling back down to your own basics, yes. Yeah. Maybe you may never know, but since we're already on our predictions and they were getting they were getting wilder by the second, the prod just decided to throw us into the draft as well without even letting us know. They're like, you're done, you've spoken a lot, you're barred from speaking any kind of words, no words spewing out of your mouth. But Leafeon, Blissey, Metagross as well as Umbreon being banned out, I like the bans.
I feel like Oxford Oricoreos picking up some good bands. They're not letting them have that Blissey, and I feel like because they know that they're not getting that first pick, they didn't want to leave Leafeon on the table. Whereas Blissey's doing some smart sort of concentrated bans against the Umbreon and against the Metagross, but that does leave Talonflame open for both sides, which we do see Monster picking up on. Mimikyu has also been free to pick up, and they have, same with Mamoswine, same with Snorlax. So these very meta heavy Pokemon are coming out and they're being played by both sides. So far, such a strong comp coming in from both sides. I'd like to see who they kind of expecting their backliners to be. It'd be nice to see the Buzzwole come out again, potentially. Never mind, they're teasing me with it. They pick up the Ceruledge. So a very dive heavy comp so far coming out from Blissey's. I hope that they follow it up with some aggression, because we've not seen too much of aggression coming out from them other than that 5-man push last game.
Yeah, I agree. And also at the same time, there's a Mamoswine on the other side. So that's gonna be a bit tricky to dive against that big elephant boy, but also a Cinderace along with a Comfey into a Mimikyu composition. I think so all they need is a pretty solid all-rounder to wrap all of this up. I'm pretty still leaning forward a bit more towards Oxford Oricoreo's draft, but maybe Blissey can eventually surprise us. They've still got an Eldegoss open if they want to go for it, but nope. They're going to lock in the Clefairy along with the Inteleon. I understand the idea, and I think so. It's a bit better than what they had brought in previously. But as compared to what Oxford Oricoreos are now bringing with the Buzzwole into the mix, yeah, I'm not quite sure how well you're gonna go specifically diving against these two frontliners.
Indeed, I feel like there's a lot of CC coming in from Oxford Oricoreos, just like we felt like there would be. It might be a good idea to put on some full heals for that Ceruledge and for the Talonflame, depending on which moveset they're going to go for. If I was Chaos, I probably would be running Fly, so you can get in, get out as easily as you can. But I feel like here, the Cinderace and the Inteleon are going to be what carry each team. So Cinderace has got damage penetration as well, which Pokemon Unite have clarified for us recently, and that's going to do a lot of damage to the Snorlax. That's going to be a lot of pressure for them, and there's so much maneuverability for Cinderace that they could probably dodge Talonflame, Ceruledge, or maybe even both. So we're gonna have to see how that goes. And Mimikyu, we know he's just got sights for one Pokemon on the other team, and that's gonna be the Inteleon. And we've seen amazing Shadow Sneaks coming out from Mimikyu tonight. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's gonna be a lot of pressure coming in onto Inteleon. So I would like to see how Brizzy Blissies are gonna be able to handle all the pressure that they're gonna get, especially with only having like one more game to prove themselves and get their third spot. But we have started, we are in the game. Talonflame taking jungle, and it is a double jungle over on the side of Oxford Oricorios. The Comfy is helping the Cinderace. That is something first for me. Mimikyu going in for a stack in the top lane. So is Clefable. Got to get those extra healings. Charcadet doing their best that they can to stop the Mimikyu from getting stacks, but it looks like they're about to get another one. Boswell managing to get a stack, but it looks like they're going to go down here. They drop super low, and a basic comes out from the Sobble, which picks them up. Unfortunately, Comfy got there just too late to help them out, but now they're defending a pad 1v2. Sobble puts in 6 points back in the top lane. A huge amount of pressure coming in from Swinub. Swinub doing such a good job with that CC. Cinderace rotating down to bot lane, putting in a lot of nice poke damage. Snorlax having to back up onto the pad, take a little sleep just to recover as we're about to get the first lane birds.
Yeah, I was about to mention as well that Cinderace might need a bit of a farm early on as well to eventually get those early level ups. Comfy was helping them out too. Mimikyu on the other side though, over towards the top side. Not able to secure those bees very quickly, but definitely were able to secure a pick onto one. Wanted to catch the second as well as Talon hopped in to shut them all down, and Mimikyu will eventually fall too. While down towards the bottom side is where we see constantly farm pokes, farm steals, and Inteleon out there just trying to maybe survive for a few more seconds. Hops in back to his pad as well. Another slam onto this big chunky boy out there in the form of Snorlax. Could not tank any of that, and now it's going to be Clefable up out there. No amount of healing can save you from the Mimikyu on the other side. While Talonflame was busy farming up all of his creeps, his team are losing the members in both the lanes.
I mean, we're seeing the levels so far. We've got a 7 coming out on Oxford Oricorios, and Boswell is just not leaving that tier 1 pad. He is just living there. That is now his home, and he's making Snorlax and Drizzile work for it. He is having to back up a little bit. The Comfy providing some nice healing. Huge shield and a pick up onto that Drizzile. Cinderace coming in for the assist. Are they going to push this base? Comfy latching onto the Cinderace, giving them some extra heals, and a super slam from that Boswell into that bush, and that base is destroyed, putting Oxford Oricorios in a big over 100-point lead, 130 to 24. And we got a second lot of mid-birds up. So huge Ice Fang coming in from that Piloswine, and a big Shadow Sneak from the Mimikyu, somehow getting in those 12 points in the face of a Clefable with the Reggies about to spawn.
And they have got a big advantage, even towards our objective, because you don't have the tier 1 pad on the bottom side. So there's no amount of security that you can basically have down there, and eventually Inteleon would need to run away, because if Snorlax cannot tank, then you surely can never do that, as Buzzbull still hops in, shuts him down. As even though Clefable was there, it did not even matter right now. Comfy eventually being picked off, but not before her team was able to secure the bottom Regirock objective. And now it's going to be Buzzbull's turn as well, trying to buy time while the rest of the team hops in, but there's no one to support this guy out there. But it does not matter, because tier 1 on top was already taken away as the Regieleki moves in over towards the second tier. Now that's a big early play from Oxford Oricorios. I don't know if Brizzy Blissies can make a comeback.
I mean, that was so good. Brizzy Blissies grabbed so much momentum in that bot lane, having 4 people taking down that Boswell, who has been causing absolute chaos for them. It was just unfortunate that they had to go up top to defend that Regieleki. Maybe they could have traded lanes a little bit and gone for a push. A huge flame sweep that does not quite connect. Ice Fang picks up the Talonflame, but Talonflame flame charges out. A big Shadow Sneak onto the Inteleon. Inteleon gets picked up by the Mimikyu, but now Mimikyu's left alone, but he's like, come play with me. He's just jumped on top of the Snorlax. His team following up Oxford Oricorios, trying to push back Brizzy Blissy's a huge ice bag, and then a super slam from Buzzwole, just dragging the Clefable back. A big Cerulege Midnight Slash, dropping everyone down solo. Oxford Oricorio is having to retreat with Talonflame and the rest of their team coming back in. A big Zero Sight 5 Vision popping in, a lot of crit basic damage, and Oxford Oricorio is dropping so low here. Talonflame does not want to give up. Play rough, allowing Mimikyu to survive for 1 extra second, but another basic takes him down. Mamoswine able to get out, and will they be able to hold off this 1v4? I don't know. Cinderace grabbing some buffs while just before they can come in and defend. Some big points went in, only 7 left to go. Can they break this pad, or will they have to back up in the face of more people from Oxford Oricurios? Unlike that Talonflame is being aggressive, we haven't seen this sort of aggression from Brizzy Blissy's quite yet. A big snipe shot coming out, picking up the Cinderace. That is huge, but Mimikyu with the play rough, there is non-stop action here. A big Shadow Sneak onto the Clefable, allowing them to play rough. A big Ice Fang coming out from the Mamoswine. It is non-stop, and Buzzwole able just to take down the Cerulege for a big 3 KO. What a huge fight. Trade-offs from both sides. It's been non-stop.
Breathe, Tej, breathe. You really need that right now, my man, because these fights were just non-stop. I have to say, Tej in Hindi means fast, and they were actually pretty fast in terms of popping back into that fight and extending it for as long as possible. My oh my, but still eventually Oxford Oricurios coming out on top. In the back of it, now want to continue with the aggression over up top as well. As Cerulege was eventually getting caught out there. I'll have to say, that fight started with the Talon Unite move, and it also ended as well with the Talon Unite move, though not in the exact same manner as we thought right now, as Mimikyu catches another one. Talonflame falling off on the back of Cerulege as well. They've lost a couple of major damage dealers, and it's only the frontliners, and Teleon needs to run away as he's been isolated, and Snorlax, he cannot catch a break. These are not the problems you can nap through. You've got to wake up to reality right now as he tries to run away, but has bought enough time for his team to spawn back up, and he still manages to survive. No, man, focus the camera on this Snorlax. No way he survived through all of that.
1 HP in a dream taken to a whole other level. Imagine being in the face of 5, especially when it's such an adversary like Oxford Oricurios, and then making it out alive. Who does he think he is? Bruv HD? Gosh, someone get him onto nouns. That was some play from the Snorlax, buying so much time for Brizzy Blissy's to get back in. Brizzy Blissy's not going for this Regieleki. I think that's quite smart. They got to just farm, make sure that they got this levels, because it is 20 seconds until Rayquaza. So we see Talonflame hitting their 13, and Teleon just taking their 13. Just need the Cerulege hitting their 13. And on the other side, we've got Cinderace just hitting their 13 with both Mimikyu and Buzzle already there. Regieleki is already down for the count, so there's nothing to worry about in terms of going in towards their tier 2 there. Speaking of which, though, Mamoswine putting in a huge 8, what will be 80 back cap as we start into this Ray fight. I don't know, this Mamoswine back cap could be make or break here.
I think so. It definitely is a make for their side, though. But Cerulege quickly catching on the Mimikyu first round. That's a big pick as well. Catching on the second too. As again, it's Cinderace trying to survive, but it's a Snorlax in front of him, and he cannot burst him down. Big 2 picks coming in, make it 3 as well, as Comfy falls as soon as she was detached from the Cinderace. No more shots remaining in their arsenal, but maybe just enough to potentially try and steal that Rayquaza, as Clefable out there in front. Talon was able to shut him down, though. Mamoswine is buying enough time. Another knock-up, and with that, 100 being poured in down bottom while the rest of the team secures the Ray. And maybe there's a hope for Brizzy Blissy. Maybe we're going all the way. Mimikyu still got a bit of a shield out there remaining, though, but they want to catch in some more points, get 100 down bottom, maybe make it a bit more. They're already in a big 90-point lead.
Brizzy Blissies finally probably taking their first win of the night here. There's not enough points. And what a Ray fight there was. I felt like, yes, that Mamoswine backcap may have costed Oxford Oricoreos that game there. But you know what that means? That just means we get to watch another game being played to see who takes that third spot for tonight. But Oxford Oricoreos are not giving up just yet. No, we can see Cinderace trying to go in for a score up in top lane. They did have to eject out through the wall with Talonflame providing some backup. A huge Midnight Slash coming in from the Cerulege, taking down the Mamoswine. A huge bicycle kick coming down from the Cinderace. Don't know where that went, but they do get taken down in the face of two dives. A big flame sweep onto the wall just because Boswell able to score a big 38, but it's not going to be enough as Source Spy Vision comes out to help defend the pad, and it does go to Brizzy Blissies. This game, what a game it was. Some backcaps that we saw. I was like on the edge of my seat thinking, is Oxford Oricoreos going to be able to steal this Rayquaza in the end after all, or not? What was going to happen? And in the end, it was Brizzy Blissies that did get the Ray and did get the win.
Wherever there's a Ray, there's always a hope. That's a nasty
Indeed,
comeback
Ray.
from Brizzy Blissy. And imagine if on the back of this Ray, maybe they're able to steal the entire series as well. And maybe landing on that third position, dropping Oxford Oricoreos all the way down from being in the top two back in the regular season to down to the fourth spot in this one. Yeah, it could be a big blow for them. In every department, you can see it's just Oxford Oricoreos winning it out, be it in the damage, be it maybe in terms of the tanking as well. Well, not technically in terms of tanking and healing, because Redru was all the way up in 79,000 face tank, 91,000 healing being done. This Cliffable was actually a beefy Cliffable. Was like, what a many of faces, do what you want to do.
Indeed, Clefable was keeping their team alive, and that healing stat just proves it. They were tanking so much, they were on top of it. And what I like to see most of all was the comp that came out from Brizzy Blissies was so much better than what we've seen so far. And I hope that they carry this feeling of this win as momentum for the next game. Maybe they can change that fourth slot position that they started in and end up at least third. We might even see just everyone changing positions after this tournament is done. Who knows? Maybe MUCL will take it all the way and Clodsire will end up second, and we'll have a complete shift of where everyone was. It will be an interesting one to watch indeed. What are your thoughts there, Sked? I mean, like, that was a hell of a game.
I'll have to say, throughout the 8-minute, or rather the 9th-minute mark too, it was constantly Oxford Oricoreos having the win. And I think so, even though that backup was there, I think so that was basically the main reason of their downfall, rather than, as a pressure tool on the other side. Because if Mamoswine is going for the back cap, that means there's no one else to actually frontline. You only have a Comfy, and that's going to be on Buzzwool max to max. And they had enough damage to burst down through that. And I think so the main reason, or rather, the main reason why Brizzy Blissy were able to win in that fight was because they made that quick decision. As soon as they saw Mamoswine all the way down bot, they were like, all right, boys, go. It's a 5v4. They don't have the front line. They don't really have that, knock up coming in constantly. So Cerulege is free to dive in. We also have Mimikyu, who wanted to try and catch something, but Cerulege just deleted him very fast. And Teleon was free after the Mimikyu died to eventually land in his own blows, which transcended into a big win for Brizzy Blissies. And I think so, if these are the kind of opportunities they can pick, Oxford Oricoreos will need to play it a bit more smart. They had the full game, just that one small decision which eventually ruined the party for them. Maybe they can add a cherry on top of the cake that they built in game number 1 and finish it all off in this game 3. But yeah, it's going to be super fun. But I still think Oxford Oricoreos will eventually take it home. What do you think?
I mean, I have to kind of agree. If we see Oxford Oricoreos play the way that they did for the first 8 minutes and play it through the Ray fight as well, Brizzy Blissies are going to struggle a little bit more and really have to work for that win a little bit harder when it comes to the Ray fight. As you said, they did capitalize on the Mamoswine making that back up, and that was something that I really enjoyed seeing them do. It was the improvement of the decision making that we got to see coming out from Brizzy Blissies. Whereas before we've kind of seen like a little bit of I don't I don't know how to put this, but like not necessarily the best decision making, or they seemed a little bit more sporadic and a bit spaced out. Whereas in that Ray fight, they knew they had a focus, they had a vision, and they executed it perfectly with just exploiting that fault coming in from Oxford Oricorios. So I think Oxford Oricorios might have to take down the cockiness a little bit and get their head back in the game if they want that third spot. Otherwise, they're going to be dancing their way to another loss.
Highly possible. You've got to be wary about what your opponents are actually bringing on the table, because they're here for a big reason, and you don't really want to test that one out there. So again, Oxford Oricorios right now going back to the drawing board as well, fixing a few things that eventually were broken. Still remember, they were literally at the second spot just because of the sheer number of matches that they were able to win as well. They were just behind Clodbridge, but yeah, now all the way down, fighting for the third spot itself, and in that too, eventually there's a chance for Brizzy Blissy to make a comeback. The pressure is going to be high on them. And in such a pressurizing situation, I think so it becomes even more crucial for you to keep your cool, keep yourself calm. Because as we move on to this third and the final draft pick of this third place matchup, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be seeing Oxford Oricorios hopping back all the way onto the purple side, Brizzy Blissy all the way onto the orange side, as the Blissy is going to be banned out yet again. But I like the respect being shown by Brizzy Blissy in the form of that Umbreon ban.
They also take away that Talonflame, and it looks like we're also getting a Snorlax ban. This does leave Giabin to get their Mimikyu again, which we've been seeing them cook on all night. It was just unfortunate how Ray fight went with the Mamoswine. So we're gonna see maybe they can turn this around, because Mimikyu is such a comfort pick, and I'm surprised that it wasn't banned out. But then again, you still would have been leaving either an Umbreon or a Talonflame on the table. So maybe it was best. It's like the devil you know versus the devil you don't, right? But in the meantime, they do pick up the Clefable. That is going to be a good counter for the Shadow Sneaks from the Mimikyu. Same with the Slowbro, right? Because that ultimate Psybeam is the one thing that can counter Mimikyu's come play with me ult. But here we go. Oxford Oricoro is looking like they're lining up something similar to their very first comp, which is a Mamoswine, Mimikyu, Metagross. So what are the second two picks going to be here? Because Umbreon has been taken out. They're going to need another healer to replace that. So it's going to be interesting what they pick. They pick up Dojio instead, something that can dive into their backline, putting a lot of pressure onto that Inteleon again.
I do like the idea this time around, though a little bit more better. They've got the Slowbro from Brizzy Blissey to eventually stop that dive from Dodrio on Mimikyu. But at the same time, you've got to be worried about the Metagross. It can actually cause a lot of problems out there with the Alolan Ninetales and Teleon, a couple of Mons out there in the backline who would need a bit of survivability. It's a big question. If only Slowbro can catch Dodrio, I think so. Maybe we're going to see them winning it out. And again, Airy will need to do the same thing he did to Mimikyu in the last match. He need to shut Mimikyu down before he can cause the havoc on the other side. So it's all going to fall down to how well Hidden Ninja will eventually position himself so that Mimikyu has the opening to hop into the enemy backline. Maybe catch the Inteleon, catch the Alolan Ninetales. I think so. Oxford Oricorios are still going to win it out on this one. What are your views?
I don't know. I feel like if we see something amazing coming out from Brizzy Blissies like we did last time, they could utilize this comp to their advantage. There is a lot of CC coming in from the side of Brizzy Blissies. We got Gravity coming in from Clef. We got Slowbro. Whichever moveset you decide to go is going to put a big damper onto the front line that Oxford Oricorios have got, because Oxford Oricorios, their only range is Hooper. So if they play it smart, they play their CCs right, with especially with that Alola Ninetales, they could take the win here. But I think I still have to side with you though. Or Oxford Oricorios, if they play it as well as they have been so far all night, they could take this win here. Just no more backcapping, all right, guys. No more backcapping again, all right.
Yes, no more backup, specifically not by a Mammoth Rider needs to frontline. But ladies and gentlemen, with all of that said and done, all the predictions thrown out there, is the UK University Unite playoff third place match, the last game between both of these teams, Oxford Oricorios, Brizzy Blissies, all the way down to this last best of one as we move in directly to Thea Skywinds. Pretty aggressive early 30 seconds though, mostly favouring the purple side of Oxford Oricorios, who are now slowly dealing a bit of that poke damage onto the other side too, but this Clefable is pretty annoying to deal with.
Indeed, we've seen Mimikyu get in a couple stacks. Hooper doing a good job using its passive to get Mimikyu healed up on its retreat. And I feel like we're going to get a 3v3 in the bot side and a 2v2 in the top side. Cerulege already managing to rotate down. They're trying to put some pressure as they get some points into that tier 1, but Dojo is now online and able to help defend that pad. But while in the top lane, we're getting some contesting for these mid-birds. I feel like Alolan Ninetales was able to pick up a good sum, but Play Rough goes onto the A9. They drop super low, but in return Mimikyu gets frozen out and they drop super low. Both teams having to retreat, and both teams actually starting to rotate up to the top side with maybe an invade coming in from the Dojo onto the Cerulege here. Who knows? But the Play Rough comes out from Mimikyu in the meantime. Clefairy drops super low, but they don't go down. Mimikyu is given a berry from their Hooper, thanks courtesy to Brizzy Blissy's top lane, and they're doing the best that they can. Brizzy Blissy's a bit more on the defense so far on both the top and bottom lanes, and we're about to see the mid-birds spawn.
Indeed, and it's been a bit of an advantage for Brizzy Blissy towards the bottom side, and at least in the jungle when a couple of minutes ago though, but the Dodrio eventually now level 7 of the portal is being set up for him to hop all the way back into the base as Mimikyu hits a big 25 up top, increasing the lead for Oxford Oricorios for a bit more. Though Slowbro down bottom, pretty low in that HP, was eventually deleted as well when Cerulege went in to try and help his team out. As again a couple of points out there. Metagross being a bit annoying out. Cerulege eventually stunned up as well. A good amount of damage. And Teleon will run back to safety as they saw the tri-headed Dodrio up in front of them. Decided to quickly retreat. Now that means the bot Bees will go for Oxford Oricorios.
I feel like if that Metagross had that 7 a little bit sooner, we could have seen that Drizzle being picked up, but Inteleon does drop super low there, just leaving Slowbro to defend, and a huge amount of points go in on the side for Oxford Oricorios, putting them to 125 points to 11. So they are in a massive lead right now. Both Reggies have spawned. Oxford Oricorios have favored that bottom side Reggie. Mimikyu just up top, just making sure that Brizzy Blissies don't get some scores in. Mimikyu does get caught out by that gravity though, and we do see a hyperspace hole rotating all of Oxford Oricorios to that top lane. This is where Hooper really shines, is their team rotations, and now they can put enormous pressures into that top lane. It looks like Oxford Oricorios are trying to break down that tier 1 goal before going for this Regieleki, and we're seeing a lot of Unite moves being popped off there. Cerulege doing a huge amount of damage into their backline, and them having to retreat, taking another hyperspace hole out of there and getting some heals.
Phenomenal play coming in from Oxford Oricorios yet again. And as you said, a big lead of 114 points already. A lot of Unite moves out being thrown. Cerulege catching one onto the Mamoswine, who has not really hit his evolution till now. So the advantage is still going to go a bit more towards the sides of Brizzy Blissies. As the heal comes back in, the Metagross wants to hop all the way up in front. Wanted to catch a pig, but it's only the Clefable. Well, alright, at least that one pick is going to go for the man. Wanted to go and probably catch the Inteleon in that Ryoiki Tenkai right now. The Cerulege wanted to go in for an isolation out there. Mimikyu low in the HP, will not get frozen by the passive of Ninetales out. Cerulege still face tanking a lot as this fight has been extended unnecessarily. Well, the rest of the players will now eventually spawn back up, but we are still at the stalemate up top.
Indeed, Cerulege has been such an MVP so far for Brizzy Blissies, pushing back Oxford's Oricorios, who've been putting an enormous amount of pressure. Azure Spy Vision comes out from the Inteleon, but Shadow Sneaks lands onto the Ninetales. They try popping up a Snow Globe, but that does not successful enough. A huge block coming in from that Clefable, pushing the Metagross all the way back. Metagross able to actually capitalize on that, but they do go down, unfortunately. Mimikyu going back for some heals in the Pokemon Center. Cerulege is back, and they have managed to farm up their ult too. Inteleon just looking for a hit with that snipe shot. They do connect to the Mamo, but Mamo barely felt a scratch there. They do get stunned down by the Regieleki. And Cerulege trying to dive on in with that Phantom Force, but not quite managing to connect. Both teams trying to play a little bit safe now. We've got some swabs up here too. Get some chance to farm some XP, and it does seem to all go to the side of Brizzy Blissies. With everyone's up in this top lane, we do get an ult coming in from the Metagross, a big Midnight Slash from the Cerulege too, who does manage to pick up the Mamoswine, but they do drop very, very low in return. Metagross almost picking up the Cerulege, and Cerulege going back for a heal. It does look like in the bottom lane that Alola Ninetales is taking the advantage of the situation and going for that Reggie, but Dodrio is putting up an enormous pressure and does secure that Regice. In the meantime, there has been non-stop back and forth in this top lane for what we've not seen a Regieleki go down just yet, and a Rings Unbound rotates their Dodrio up top too.
Solid play yet again coming in, and the fight still continues as eventually they don't really want to let this one big objective go now. 125 to 18 being the score difference. Eventually Mimikyu catching Inteleon. Now that's going to give a big opening to them as he goes in, doubles it up, make it 3 itself as Cerulege fall down. One away from the fifth one too. They eventually take the Regieleki as well. Alone and Ninetales finally answering back, but maybe give the fifth one to Mimikyu. The man has been struggling for a while to catch that fifth one. The 4K was absolutely mind-blowing. And on the back of it, they extend their lead even further.
Indeed, Mimikyu was so hungry for that Penta, but it was very smart for them to go back there. Otherwise, they could have been taken down, and that would have been a lot of valuable XP for Brizzy Blissies. As we can see, the levels are favoring Oxford Oricorios just by a thumb. Not much, as both teams are just looking to farm up now. This is very, very smart for both teams, as it is 20 seconds till Rayquaza. Oxford Oricorios with both tier 1 goal zones up, Brizzy Blissies with neither of them up, and they're down by over 150 points, 195 to 18 as we go into this Rayquaza fight, with a lot of positioning coming in from Oxford Oricorios and no back cap from the Mamoswine.
Not yet, at least. Learning from the mistake in the previous one though, but for now it's going to be running around wild trying to survive as the rest of the team quickly hops for the support as well. And look at what this Metagross is doing. Just casually walks up towards the back line, catches 2 of them, Inteleon and Alolan Ninetales. Does not even matter if Dodrio was picked off in that fight. The entire back line was obliterated. What are we Clefable and the Slowbro gonna do? This is just absolute madness from Oxford Oricorios. They're like, you know what? Yeah, let's just take out the damage dealers. Let's just quietly walk them down. Oh, well, welcome back. You know what? Go back to your base. We don't even need to take the Rayquaza. We are going to wait for you to take it, only to eventually get the backline open and take it all out.
Indeed, and we also noticed Mimikyu and Mamoswine taking that chance for a back cap, but a second Rayquaza fight does break out. Dodrio going down, Mamoswine also going down, and Inteleon is down. So is Alolan Ninetales, because the Rings Unbound has grouped them together. Slowbro just barely clinging on to dear life, but their Mimikyu is like, come play with me, and they get taken out. Now it's just Cerulege in the face of 3, what can they do with only 35 seconds left? I don't know if this is the chance for them to rip, and a massive Shadow Sneak goes onto the Ceruledge too. They play with the Mimikyu, and Mimikyu does force that Ceruledge to back on up. Azure Spy Vision has been popped just to get some vision. They just have to rip this Rayquaza now. There is no other way with only 15 seconds left. A big Ice Fan coming up from Mamoswine that results in the demise of the Inteleon. Alolan Ninetales going down. What a formidable force all Oxford Oricorias have produced. The big 100 is coming in from the Ceruledge, but it's not enough. The Rayquaza has not been defeated for the very first time tonight.
And what a way for it to happen. Oxford Oricorios having a big advantage in the early game, eventually snowballing to the mid to late game as well with a 393. Thanks to the Gracie 100 by Ceruledge at the end, we did see Blissey reach over towards at least 118. Otherwise, they only had 18 points in total. Even though this Inteleon, Alolan, Ninetales combination was there, and again, Slowbro and Clefable were just not enough to keep them alive, given the situation where Metagross was just walking in front of them. You see a mountain rolling in front of you on 4 legs like that, you know what, just run away. You can't really survive on the back of it. At 90,000 damage being dealt, my guy was just unstoppably moving in front.
Indeed. I mean, Oxford Oricorias were able to reign free with 3 Pokemon able to dive in constantly. A9 trying to do their absolute best, putting out the stuns, but unfortunately wasn't enough. But they did drop a huge 89k, which is almost on par with the Mimikyu and Metagross damage too. So a good effort from the side of Blissies. They did a good job, and GG's to both teams playing super, super well. I think if we saw a little bit more aggression throughout the game from Blissies, this is something that I've been saying, I think, constantly after each time that they play. If we see a bit more aggression coming out from them, I think that they might have had a little bit of better time going throughout the game, but they were very, very passive, and it might have been the reason that, you know, they didn't quite get the Rayquaza or the win in the end. But a commendable effort from both teams. So yeah, what are your thoughts now going into the finals? We've got Clodbridge and Musial. So what are your predictions there, my friend?
Man, to be honest, if this was a third place match, I can't even dream of what's the finals gonna look like. And I think so, with the way how Cloudbridge and Musial played, I am gonna lean in a bit more towards Musial. I'll just have to say, man, I think so Oxford Oricorios are a pretty solid team to pair up against. And when Blissey faced against them and played so good, we saw Musial winning against Oxford Oricorios itself. I think so on that tangent, which makes absolutely no sense. They might have an advantage, but you know what? What makes sense right now? That's going to be a short break, as on the other side of the break, we're going to have the grand finals of the UK Unite playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. And to cause that finals, you're going to be having none other than Tej and one of our best friends out there as well. You don't want to miss out on his name, right? Tens, of course. We'll catch you guys after the short break. Don't go anywhere.
So guide you, give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a hard cold goodnight, baby. Hang on to your ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. Till the light. Think he was blind. if not you, not here, then I don't know. As above, as ever, so below. Something here was bound to take me home. Saw you in a field of ice and snow, holding out your hand for me to go. Wasn't scared to see you, always knew it in my bones that something here was bound to take me home. You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voice as I guide you. Give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you a hard cold goodnight. Baby, hang on to your ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much to Scared for joining me for the third place here. And thank you to Tins for joining me now for the big finals, which everyone's been so hyped and anticipated for. We've got Clodbridge versus MUCL. Tins, who do you think this is going to go to, my friend?
Oh, wow. If that last set is anything to go by, Tej, I've got to say you and Scared put a huge performance in, and you on your debut, my friend, has been just unbelievable. But going into this final match, the people on YouTube at the minute are putting their bets in on who is going to win this one. But Clodbridge, MUCL, you know, we both know a player each off of Clodbridge, so we kind of have to lean towards them, don't we? But it's going to be a real interesting match, and we are not going to wait too much longer as we already see Sox take an Eldegoss out of here.
Indeed. Eldegoss is it's the first sort of ban we've seen on Eldegoss all night, but a Hooper ban in reply from UCL. Now, Hooper has been banned a few times throughout tonight, but we've seen two supporters. Next is coming in the Talonflame, which is more interesting, and it looks like Blue is locking in the Blissey for the final ban potentially here, which is going to be super, super interesting. That leaves a lot of Pokemon on the table, like Umbreon, like Mamoswine, that we've been seeing a lot of good things come from. Other speedsters are still able to shine here, with Zeraora being able to come into play. Even Meowscarada, if either team picks up the double team moveset.
What I'm taking from tonight in our UK Unite playoffs, these teams do not like the supporters, Tej. We've got Eldegoss, Hooper, and Blissey banned out this time. Talonflame also not a fan by any teams tonight, nearly always on the ban table. We have Clodbridge locking in the Umbreon, really nice first pick, and Grand Blue all night getting that Snorlax for free. Joining them, it will be the Espeon from Haydosaur.
Indeed. We've seen Grand Blue absolutely cause so much mayhem with that Snorlax. So this is going to be very, very interesting going into this game. And Clodbridge have actually locked in 2 defenders with Marv on the Zeraora. So this could be a very, very interesting comp coming in from both teams, actually, with the Blaziken and Mewtwo Y being locked in. Mewtwo Y being very, very strong so far this meta and this season. And that being said, also Inteleon is not been banned, so is up for grabs and is been locked in by Sox. And we've seen Sox do amazing work with the Inteleon too. So this could be anyone's game. Both teams have definitely deserved this head-to-head that we're about to watch.
They certainly have. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You've got a lot of CC on the side of Clodbridge with Karasu locking in that Pikachu. I think every player there has a great front line with Sox in the back line as your Spy Vision. Snipe Shot probably going to be the moveset of choice. We've seen a lot of that tonight, and like you said so rightly, Sox played really well on that earlier. So going to be an important player for Clodbridge heading into the first match of our grand finals tonight. Interesting for the side of Musial, Tej. We don't see any support there. Bluey decided to lock in a Machamp. What a huge Unite move that is. When you land a barrage blow, it's probably one of the most satisfying things in Unite. So very excited to see with the skill level of Bluey tonight that locked straight onto an opposing few players.
Indeed, and especially because we've not actually seen Machamp on the field yet. Likewise, we've not seen a Pikachu on the field yet either. So these are 2 mons that are being picked up for the first time tonight. And I believe Espeon is the first we're seeing as well tonight. I think maybe it might have been played in a game, or maybe I'm thinking about UCS. I could just be getting all these games muddled up in my head. But this is going to be a very, very interesting game. And I just wanted to pick on something that you said just a moment ago about no teams liking these supporters. I mean, we know how little number of supporters there are in this game. I mean, you never know. We might even have to see a Sableye get picked up at some point. But here we go, guys. We're into the first game of the grand finals with Clodbridge versus Musial, Seed 1 versus Seed 3. And who's going to take up this grand champion title as we kick off this very first game?
Interesting. We see Machop taking that jungle straight away. Some early stacks going in for our Musial on the orange side. Zeraora taking the jungle for Clodbridge. Looking for an early rotation into one of these lanes here, Tej.
Indeed, and seeing that matchup in jungle, I feel like that's going to make a certain someone very, very happy. Spartantano, who unfortunately couldn't join us today. But we're seeing that Machoke now rotating up for the top lane, and it looks like Zeraora may favor the bot lane, but you never know, they could change their mind as they're slowly making their way up top. So this is going to be a 3v3 for these very first midbirds, which will spawn in 5 seconds. Now both teams are going to they're kind of ready, and they're just kind of taking up their positions with that Combustion going in, but they actually blaze kick it towards the Umbreon, but it does look like they got a few secures on the side of Musial, but unfortunately for them, Clodbridge also got some Umbreon ticking over to Umbreon, and now both junglers are rotating back for their jungle now. And then the bottom lane, Snorlax putting so much pressure on, but both teams just looking quite even here. I don't believe any points have been scored by either side here down in the bottom lane. Just a stack or 2 up in the top lane, Tins.
Yeah, it was a really nice bit of gameplay from both teams, wasn't it? A lovely blaze kick from our Kumbascan player taking those birds into the bush where Clodbridge were waiting, and unfortunately they did get KO'd. We are going to see a Psyshock from our Espeon as the first set of midbirds hit the map. It is just Machoke interested, who pounces straight on top of that Pikachu, doing all sorts of work. Clodbridge locking in most of those. The discharge going to work. Kumbascan is down again. That is absolutely insane from Clodbridge. Clodbridge. Mewtwo Y in big trouble as the side shot comes through from Espeon, and now Zeraora picks up a 2 KO streak. Every player is low though, Tej, so not going to be able to capitalize any points into that tier 1.
Indeed. I know that Mewtwo went down, but that Mega could not have come at a better timing because that did so much damage, so much area damage onto Clodbridge there, which stopped them from being able to advance anymore. We saw Combuskin actually do a nice blaze kick towards their team this time. No Clodbridge in the bushes, and they do pick up their level 7. Now, obviously, they're trying to gun for their level 8 so that they can get their Unite move, sort of move combos. And looking at levels here, actually, while we're talking about it, we're seeing a 9 come out from Zeraora, an 8 on the Inteleon, so levels looking to be a little bit more on the favor of Clodbridge here, but a huge snipe shot from Inteleon to make sure that Regice goes to them as Psyshot comes out, trying to just put some poke into the backline. 17 from Umbreon, 40 from Zeraora, and now it looks like another 30 from the Inteleon with only a 7-point overcap, but nearly an 80-point lead for the side of Clodbridge.
What a lovely lock-in that was on the bot side. Sox realising that the Snorlax was there for MUCL, potentially to steal that secure away, launching a huge snipe shot at the perfect moment to lock that in the top side. MUCL now, there's that barrage blow we were talking about, Tej, followed by a close combat, doing all sorts of work, but Clodbridge dealing with that with a huge plasma gale from our Zeraora. There's the spy vision from Sox. The snipe shot lands as well on our Espeon, and this is a huge push on the tier 1. Can we catch an overcap? I think it was, in fact, 6 in the end. Not a massive overcap on either base for Clodbridge, but they have taken the initiative into this mid-game, Tej. The Regieleki did go in from UCL, so that is a lovely 20 points, but they are struggling at the moment on that front, my friend.
Indeed, Clodbridge doing a really good job in this early game before we tick over to the mid game. They have taken down both of MUCL's tier 1 goal zones, which is just a lot of pressure onto them. They've also got a point lead. They've also got a level lead. So this is a lot of pressure on MUCL, but MUCL are capitalizing on this newly gained farm that they have got as a result of their tier 1s going down. We've got to start preparing for this bottom side Reggie to spawn, and the biggest threat over on the side of Clodbridge has got to be Zeraora doing absolute massive work in this massive fight. We've come in, a big power nap comes out from Snorlax, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. They're alive by the skin of their teeth, but they go down to the Trevenant in the end. Zeraora picking up 2 KOs with the Plasma Gale. Never mind, make that 3, maybe even 4 when they pick up the Machamp. Oh my god, they unfortunately don't luck out with the Quadra as the Regirock does go over to the side of Clodbridge. This is a huge amount of XP and a huge defense and special defense buff that put Clodbridge in favor for this top Regieleki fight that we're about to get now.
Does that count as a 5 KO streak for Marv on our Zeraora? Absolutely insane. Locks in a 4 KO streak and then picks up the Reggie as well. That's got to be a 5 KO streak, right? There's another lock-in from Clodbridge. The Regieleki is now headed towards a tier 2. Another big fight. There's the Infinite Cyber and a barrage blow in conjunction, Tej. That is absolutely huge for this side of MUCL as this game heads forward. They needed those KOs. They're struggling on the points, so the KOs is where it needs to be. In goes our Zeraora. That is a lovely Unite from the Espeon to pick them up. Doesn't quite get the KO, unfortunately. That would have been a really nice amount of catch-up XP. Looks like with this overheat, they are going to be able to stop the Regieleki heading towards that tier 2. 3 minutes 30 on the clock, Tej, and this game is still reasonably close, you know. MUCL just need one decent push, get some points in, and they are going to be almost neck and neck. So this is still anyone's game. We know you just need one great push onto a base, and the Rayquaza fight is where it all really lands when the match gets to that end game. But yeah, teams just pulling back, grabbing their farm. 2 tier 1s still up for Clodbridge though, Tej.
Indeed, this does allow MUCL to farm a lot more safely, a lot closer to home. We're seeing some catch up here now, both teams having a level 13, MUCL getting 2 level 12s with 2 level 11s, whereas Cloudbridge have still got most of their team at the level 11 mark. So on level front, they could it could be a lot worse off on the side of MUCL. They are trying to take this fight as they try and defend from Cloudbridge, who want to push, maybe get some KOs for the XP. We see the Umbreon go down, but not without the Wish going onto the Trevenant first. Zero Aura trying to look for a good place to go in after getting this Regirock, which is a huge bit of XP for Cloudbridge that they need. A big Plasma Gale comes out, but it looks like Snorlax might pick them up. No, but they pick up the Mewtwo before they get taken down by the Espeon. Only Espeon left. Pikachu takes down the Snorlax. And only 3 seconds to Ray. Only 2 people in. Machamp still respawning, and Rayquaza's already spawned onto the map, Tins.
Unbelievable, Tej. What a fight that was in the bot side. It was all popping off. I think we saw a Plasma Gale come through from our Zera Aura. We're not going to have to wait long for this fight. Lovely Volt Tackle. There's the Infinite Cyber, and there's the Barrage Blow. This is absolutely insane. Down goes Machamp. Lovely snipe shot from Sox. We've got the Azure Spy Vision out. They're dropping really, really low. There's a lovely block from our Snorlax pushing Sox out of the pit. Who locked that in the end? It was Sox again. Has been absolutely brilliant with those snipe shots all game. They are going to clean up MUCL and make an assault onto these tier 2s, Tej. And I think that could be all she wrote for this one.
Oh my god, that snipe shot was crazy! What a snipe shot from the Inteleon. Even with the Snorlax in his face being pushed around by that block, they weren't given justice by being denied the score of 100 points. In fact, they get taken out. Blaziken is trying to make an assault onto the tier 1 goal zone, trying to just get some catch-up points, but I don't think there's enough Eos energy on the map here, Tins, for UCL to make a comeback. Cloudbridge have been a very adversary foe for MUCL. MUCL having such a good time up against Oxford Oricoreos, but they really struggle in the face of Cloudbridge. Cloudbridge have just been putting up a lot of pressure at every turn. Here comes the block from the Snorlax, trying to just push the enemy team out of that goal zone, but they do get picked up by the Inteleon. Huge snipe probably coming out from Sox there, and Zera Aura still got their shield. Maybe they try and go for another dunk. Machamp up at the top side going for a 46 back cap, putting in a nice almost 100 points there. More points raining in though from the side of Cloudbridge, as it does go to them for game 1 and a barrage blow into the wall. Because why not? Because why not, guys? You know, why not?
We saw a Moonlight Prance as well there from Umbreon. Some great dancing from both teams, showing that there is no animosity whatsoever. Nice to see MUCL not giving it up, getting those all-important scores on the board, because they have scored a lot of points in the league so far, well over 8,000 for them. So it's important to get those numbers up, even though you sometimes may think this is over for us. Get those points in. As we look over the stats, Marv, insane on that Zera Aura all game, 86k coming out from them. Got to be MVP status, even though Sox locked in nearly every objective. Brilliant gameplay from Cloudbridge.
Oh yeah, I have to completely agree. Marv was my MVP. So much fun to watch. Stocks was a next contender there with those huge snipe shots coming out. But also Grand Blue with that Snorlax. The Snorlax game was so much fun to watch coming in from them with the heavy slam block. The block just about not like being too early to stop the Inteleon from getting the secure on the Rayquaza, but they did a really, really good job just trying to deny them and giving them their teammates the best chance of trying to secure that Ray. But unfortunately, that snipe shot was just so good. Okay, that's ingrained into my memory right now, guys. It was such a good snipe shot. And GG's to both teams. UCL looked like they struggled a little bit more in this one than in the previous games that they've played. So I would like to see what their answer is going to be to that Zera Aura, which I think put on a lot of pressure, a lot of damage, as we saw as well, onto their team. So I hope they have an answer to that, whether it's a ban or they may be getting a first pick this time as well, so they may pick it up for themselves.
So you rightly said, Tej, that Zeraora was causing all sorts of problems. Plasma Gale into the back line, picking up 2 KO streaks, 4 KO streaks, even a 5 with the Reggie as well, if we're counting one of those. Yeah, it was insane, really. How long is it going to be before we see Zeraora on the ban table? It's been popping off all night. These teams like to take the supports out of there, and Talonflame. I'd probably like to see more of a support let through and Zeraora on that ban list, Tej, like you so rightly said. But yeah, Clodbridge are number 1 seed for a reason, and they just showed it there, giving UCL a really, really difficult time. In terms of the next draft then, Tej, UCL, what have they got to do to really bring the fire in this next match and try and take this to a game 3 situation?
UCL have done a good job so far. They just really struggled that game. So I think maybe just to tip the tides into their favor a little bit, they've got the first pick slot now. It depends on what they do with that power that they've got now. They could ban the Zeraora, or they could take it for themselves. Zeraora, as you said, have been cooking all night, so it'll be a surprise not to see it banned or being taken up by UCL. And another thing as well is the Inteleon. We've been seeing that slip through after the first couple games. It was being allowed to slip through, and teams have been taking massive advantage of Inteleon. Inteleon doing so much damage, also a bit having a recent buff as well. So I wonder if we're going to see maybe an Inteleon ban and a Zeraora pickup, or maybe the other way around, rather than so many supports being banned out. So many so that Sableye is going to be forced to play in the next game. Who knows? I mean, maybe secretly, low-key, I just want Sableye to be in this next game. I don't know, Tins.
Wow, maybe there's some Sableye experts out there in these two teams, Tej, that might have heard your call, and maybe we'll see 4 supports banned out this time if it's going the way it's going, and Sableye might be in there. But yeah, Psyduck as well, another insane support that hasn't been seeing too many bans after the recent nerfs. I think it got hit twice, didn't it, in patches gone by, but
yes,
still gives so many problems. One of those that could definitely hit the ban list. But yeah, Zeraora, I really want to see that taken out. It's been absolutely insane so far. We're not going to have to wait any longer, chat, because we are into the ban phase. Let's see if me and Tej have called this right. Are we going to see Zeraora taken out of it? Are we going to see Inteleon taken out of it? It looks like Hooper. I do agree that is a fantastic ban, Tej. Blissi also. Bliss assistance into the back line, going through a whole team. Nobody wants to see any of that. Looks like Bluey. There it is. Zeraora off the table, my friend. Will it be Umbreon joining them?
Yeah, I'm surprised that the Zeraora was the ban mon that they chose. I thought they were going to try and take that, but I know that they have been saving that first pick in previous games for Granblue to take the Snorlax, but I felt like Zeraora could have just been a good first pick for them. We've seen Bluey cook on the Zeraora too, so I'm surprised that they didn't take it up, or maybe it was just a cautionary ban and they would rather pick something that they're more comfortable with. So Granblue actually takes up for the first time tonight the Umbreon, which is quite interesting. We've not seen him play that, and Lololop taking the Snorlax away. Machamp also being picked up by Clodbridge. Clearly, they felt threatened by it from when UCL played it. So this is going to be interesting. So far, there's been a lot of complimentary bans and character steals. So this is going to be interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to have to wait and see how this one plays out. We have got Mewtwo locked in for Ruby and Haydosaur locking in the Eldegoss. A really nice start to the draft for UCL with Umbreon, Eldegoss, and Mewtwo Y. As soon as you can lock that Mega Evolution in, you can do all sorts of work. It's like a machine gun, isn't it, popping off? But they've allowed it. Socks again, locking in so many objectives last game with that snipe shot. Great use of the Azure Spy Vision as well. And joining that, Tej, we know how I feel about a certain Blastoise pickup.
Sorry to burst your bubble there, though, my friend. I feel like it may be a Surf Stoice here. I'll hold my hands up and admit I'm wrong if it's not, but I feel like a Surf Stoice would just do a lot better here, to be honest. I mean, at the same time, though, they could just put some extra pressure onto that Mewtwo by going Rapid Spin. And we do see Marv picking up the Absol for the first time tonight. Gosh, you know, Tins, I'm loving the comp coming out from both of these teams right now. MuCL got such a juicy, perfect one character of each role on their team. I feel like this Elder Goss, Metagross, so many. Oh, the Goss lane up in the top is gonna really hard carry, and if they can scale up that Metagross, there's gonna be a lot of pressure for Clodbridge. But in return, that Absol, you know, if you can get off that Psycho Cut Night Slash combo, that could just melt through the biggest of defenses. So it's just down to the way both teams play this game and who will come on top, because both teams have such strong comps, and I'm very excited for the second game.
Yeah, me too, my friend. I think you've said it great there. If Marv's Absol is as good as a Zeraora, then we could see some great gameplay, and I'm a big fan of Absol. So it's great to see that coming out in our grand finals tonight from none other than Clodbridge. What a team. It's going to be an insane final, a speedster on each side, not ones that are so in the limelight, because finally we have seen Zeraora and we have seen Talonflame taken right out of there in the ban phase. I do not blame these teams at all, because like we said, Zera has been cooking so much tonight, but we are waiting no longer, everyone. Can MuCL bring this to a Game 3 situation? They are going to be your purple team, and Clodbridge are going to be your orange team.
I'm so hoping that MuCL can bring it to a 1-1 situation. They are the underdogs for me, and already we are seeing an invade coming from the Snorlax. We have not actually seen a lot of invades tonight, which I'm really surprised. It is such a crucial part to do in this game, to like disable the jungler. And Umbreon already down on the side of MuCL, putting Clodbridge at a little bit of an advantage when it comes to defending that pad. It's so far 4-4. They're contesting this Bunnelby. I think it went down to the side of Clodbridge there, with it being 3v2 in the top lane. Absol looking like they're trying to choose their rotation, and it looks like a successful invade from the Snorlax too, with Doduo not quite getting the evolution. So this could actually go in the favor of Clodbridge for both lanes, Tins.
What a start that is. It was a nice boosted coming through from our Dojo player to send Clodbridge packing. They're going to have the advantage in this top lane, Tej, with 3v2, but it looks like Machoke is going to get online with a nice, secure, lovely Karate Chop. Is a nice, secure move to start off with. We are going to see a Pursuit Absol, one of my favourite Pokemon to play, the ability to rotate and those resets when you do manage to get a big crit by hitting someone in that lovely area behind, causes all sorts of problems. That's up, dropping really low here. Down goes the Umbreon. We have a 2 KO streak from our Wartortle. It looks like a Blastoise could be on the field pretty shortly, Tej.
It's an interesting choice. I mean, Pursuit Absol is very strong, but into certain team comps, I don't know if I would favor a Pursuit in this team comp. I see it's like the most benefit that you're going to get right is from the Mewtwo or from the Dojo. However, Mewtwo just turns its back on you whenever it's attacking or whenever it's using Psy Strike, so you're not going to get much advantage from Pursuit then. And Dojo, I don't know if it's as worth it. I'd rather have gone like the Psycho Cut Night Slash build just to melt through that Metagross frontline and that Umbreon too, especially since it's running Mean Look, I believe. Or even if it's running Foul Play. It is running Foul Play, my bad there, guys. But you know, you just want to be able to melt through that a little bit better. I mean, I do love Pursuit Psycho Cut, but I feel like Night Slash might have just been a better call here. But we will see, as so far Umbreon does go down, so does the Dojo thanks to that pursuit, and Mewtwo is the only one left standing, but they do have to recall back onto their pad. We do see Machoke going down there in the face of the Metagross. Metagross able to stack in, they put in a huge 30 points and trying to maybe get a few more stacks while they can. In the meantime, Clodbridge is just defending that bottom tier 1 pad as they try and start the rip onto the Regice.
What a great period of play from both teams. We saw Marv on the Absol picking up a lovely KO streak or two with the Psycho Cut Pursuit combo. It is looking like it is a Hydro Pump, a Rapid Spin Blastoise, Tej. Absolutely loving it. On the top side, Musial pushed onto that tier 1 and a lovely eject into a gyro ball, wasn't it? We see an assault onto the pot tier here. That is going to be a 23 overcap, I believe, for Clodbridge. But it is very, very close, Tej. 99 points for Musial, 116 for Clodbridge, and they do have a Regieleki heading towards their tier 2, do Clodbridge, so they need to stop that or they'll be going behind again.
I don't know, I feel like the Regieleki was fine just to let in. They were not able to capitalize on too much. They are able to get in that 27 points, but Clodbridge was shutting down UCL so hard that there was no way that they were going to get the rest of their team to score any more points, as we saw Metagross going down there, and now it's just Umbreon in the face of the Snorlax here. But yeah, Clodbridge was able to get a good invade in and able to shut down the rest of UCL, so they couldn't quite go for that back cap with the Regieleki. Blastoise doing a really good job zoning out this Eldegoss and Umbreon combo. There is a Wish Umbreon too, so they have gone for double healing on the side of Musial, a big heavy slam to secure that Altaria. Metagross is in, 20 points got dunked in by the Machamp. That's a nice stack, but it looks like they may go down here. Nice eject through to there, but they do get stopped from jumping over and they get taken down by the Dojo. Everyone's rotating to the middle section here for the middle of the game, and it looks like both teams kind of wanting to fight. They're kind of testing the waters here, but they don't quite go for a fight. Slowly rotating down to this bottom Reggie. A big pursuit coming in from the Absols, denying Umbreon their midnight prance, and Blastoise Unite coming out, just picking up the Eldegoss. Azure Spy Vision is out. Dojo dashes into the backline with its Unite mode. A Barrage Blow coming out, just trying to stop any more assault coming in from UCL. A Skyburn comes in, trying to drop in some extra bit of damage, and Clodbridge having to back up here with, oh my god, that was so close. The snipe landing on that Regirock, just about securing it away from UCL. What a piece of play, my friend.
Holy Tej, you need to take a breather, mate. That was insane. How did you keep that up? Amazing casting on, my friend. But yeah, 168 to 136 on the scoreboard here. It's really close. It's so back and forth. Here comes some more points from Clodbridge to bring this even closer. Both these teams are absolutely popping off right now. There's so many KOs going in. It's fight after fight after fight. It almost reminds me of casting the India region a few weeks ago. It's just fight after fight. Look at that Midnight Slash coming out from the Absol into a pursuit. That's a KO streak of 2 for Marv again. Carrying on the way they carried on with that Zera Aura last game. They're going to have to back up here, dropping really low. Can Bluey take them down? That's a lovely boosted. Look at the damage coming through. Down they go. The Side Strike lands on the Absol. That's a huge amount of EXP going over to Musial. This game is so well contested. Can they get the rip on in time before Sox arrives with a huge snipe shot? Doesn't look like they're going to get there. This Regieleki will be heading towards the Clodbridge tier 2, and UCL are in the lead right now, Tej. 1 minute to go till Rayquaza hits the map, and I love the positioning of Snorlax here, just covering that bottom tier, because look at the rotations from UCL, looking to get a massive advantage heading towards that Ray fight.
I was seeing that the Snorlax had jumped bottom, and I thought that was very clever. And we saw Clodbridge rotating down for that bottom tier 1 goal. They used the Regieleki as a guise for an advantage. Metagross does go down to the pursuit. Pollen Puff does go down onto Marv, but obviously not giving him any heals since he's from the opposite team. Inteleon looking like they were trying to go for a score, but they do get caught out by the Dojo, and a quick rip comes out onto this Regirock. A huge amount of damage coming in from the Psycho Cut and the Hydro Pump. A lot of damage coming in with only 5 seconds until this Ray fight. Both teams looking to position for this, with Clobridge having an advantage down in this bottom side here. Looks like Dojo's going round, trying to find this Inteleon, trying to get a nice good flank in for their team, but the fight is already started over on the side of UCL. A big Hydro Typhoon comes out from the Blastoise, knocking up the other team, but a Cloud Crash comes in from the Eldegoss, giving their team some heals. Metagross still on full HP, a big snipe shot onto the Mewtwo. Dojo is just going back for some HP, looking for their next target here, and a massive barrage blow in that choke. The Absol dropping super low, having to pursue out, but the Metagross goes down. A big snipe shot lands onto the Dodrio, but not quite getting taken out here, while they take some healings from the Eldegoss, and Clobridge are able to reposition for this Ray. They're starting the rip here, but with 2 of their team on half health, it's anyone's game.
It really is. Look how low Snorlax and a Machamp are dropping the... It is really low. There goes the pursuit from our player on Clodbridge, locking in the important Rayquaza. They were a few points behind, and I just thought, will Musial get back in there in time to do anything? But here we go. The Hundos are raining in, Tej, and this looks like it will be Clodbridge taking the 2-0 victory. I'm pretty sure you can't come back. There won't be enough energy on the map for Musial to mount a comeback, but let's hope that they can at least get a push onto that box here and try and get some points in.
UCL played very well this game, but they just got a little bit outplayed by Clobridge in that Ray fight. As we know, that Ray fight is unfortunately the most important fight in the game, and Clodbridge won it very well. But UCL put up amazing fight throughout the rest of this game. The Azure Spy Vision comes out, Calculated Crash comes out from the Metagross, and the ejected through the wall to safety, and the Hydro Typhoon just coming out just a tad bit too late to pick up anyone. But yes, what a game from these 2 teams. Clodbridge are our champions for tonight. They were #1 seed, and they've proven to everyone here that they are the #1 team, the #1 university out of everyone that has participated. GG's to everyone for a 2-0 with Clobridge and a nil for UCL. Again, both teams played so well. UCL played a lot better this game compared to their first game, and it could have been anyone's win, honestly. But Clobridge just played that Ray fight that little bit better, I feel like.
Absolutely, yeah. We see massive numbers on the side of Clodbridge. Sox 83k and Marv 100k there on the Absol. Really nice Psycho Cut and Pursuit gameplay, locking in the Rayquaza at the end there. But yeah, it was a fantastic night, wasn't it, Tej? We've seen so many great games. It's all been pretty close, I feel like, from Clodbridge, Oxford Oricorios, UCL and Brizzy Blissies. Yeah, I mean, do you have a favourite match of the night, Tej? Because there's just been so many great performances all around there.
There's been so many good games. I don't think I can pin it down to just one. There was so many exemplary gameplays. I think some of my favorite moments, though, there is a few that I can put out there. One of them being that shadow sneak onto the Gardevoir. I believe it was Oxford Oricorios versus Brissy Blissies, and then there was also that snipe shot that came out in the 3rd game of that set too. So those were probably my favorite moments that I can remember. And also, it's been so much fun watching Zeraora being let loose in Thea Sky Ruins. We've seen him pick up 18 KOs twice, I believe. So it's been absolutely crazy to watch, and all teams playing so well tonight.
Yeah, big thank you to all our teams for showing up and giving us a fantastic show. We have to say thank you to our casters. Tej, your debut, mate, you've been absolutely fantastic. A pleasure to listen to. And our other caster tonight, we had a huge performance from. What's happened, Ted? Where is he?
From
He's
Scared,
gone. He's
yes,
gone.
he has done a great job, but he is in India as well, so I think he had to go to sleep. It's very, very early in the morning to him. Again, also thank you to Yash and Dragon, who have been working on behind the scenes, to Engage for hosting this tournament, and the Inter-University Pokemon Unite Society, who have made it all happen by getting all of these university Pokemon Unite teams together for an all-out tournament bash that I know has lasted 7 weeks, but tonight was exhilarating. We saw so many amazing pieces of play coming out, and it has been amazing to cast, especially for my debut. I was super excited when I was reached out to by yourself and the team of Engage to cast this specifically. So I am very, very thankful to all of you. And also thank you to the viewers for coming along, watching, and supporting your favorite teams too.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic night, hasn't it, all around? But I guess with all the thanks done and every ounce of our strength and mental capabilities, it seems, lost, we are going to have to say goodnight. And a big thank you to everybody involved.